What's going on, everybody? It is Thursday, April 29th, 2021. This is Brandon, host of Brandon's Show. Sorry for the small delay there. I had some technical difficulties I had to work through. Hope everybody's doing good tonight. We got quite a few people in the chat already. Chrissy Heavey, Ian Adams, My Two Cents, They, YouTube, Enigma Nick, Bill G, Matrix Media, and more to come. What's going on, guys? How are you guys doing out there tonight? How's the old mic coming through? Hopefully good. Everything looks good here. I think we're all good. So I don't know if you guys saw, but supposedly tomorrow night there is a debate, and it's between Brian's Logic and Ranty. For some reason, they decided to do it on Cat's channel. I don't understand that, but hey, you know, whatever. Guess you know, it is what it is. Got to go where your bread is buttered, huh? Or butter is bread. One of those two. Anyway, let's see who we got in the old Discord, and get on with it. If you want to join the Discord, you can. There's a link in the description. Come on in. You can sit in there and listen, or you can join the discussion. You can play with the text trolls, who are mighty busy. Let me tell you, you will never have a want of text trolls. Come on in. We're text troll rich. All right.
Let me. If you're closer to the center and that thing is going slower, and then if you're on the outside and it's going faster, you're gonna have the same time. How are you gonna differentiate?
What?
The difference
in the inner circle, it would be going slower than the outer circle because it has to cover more distance for the outer circle in the same amount of time.
So this is what I'm saying. Let's say you are in the United States, right? Which is more in the center, like in the inner circle, and you're gonna time 1,000 miles. Let's say 1,000 miles. You're gonna put one person on one side and the other person 1,000 miles, right?
Yeah.
All right. So you're gonna get, let's say, 1 hour of time, and then on the other place, you're gonna have 2,000 miles, or let's say 3,000 miles, and you're gonna put one person on one place and the other person on the other place, and you're gonna time it, and you're gonna get 1 hour also. That doesn't say anything about the shape of the Earth, because if the sun is going faster, and when you're in the inner circle, it's going slower, you're gonna get the same time.
Bro, like, if the sun's going faster, if the sun's going faster in the outer circle and slower on the inner one, that destroys the globe. Absolutely destroys it.
But you cannot measure it.
You couldn't be a glober after that.
But Jeremy, you cannot measure. Frame it so that the way I frame it to you.
Jeremy, hold on, Kosho. Hold on.
You
yeah. You cannot differentiate you cannot time. Like, how are you gonna know? How can you tell the difference?
Because there's a point on the ground where you get underneath the sun, right? Do you agree to that?
Speed, maybe.
Under what?
Singular speed.
Do you agree that there's a point on the ground where you can be underneath the sun? Do you agree to that?
There's a point in the ground.
There's a point on the ground, on Earth, on land, where you can be underneath the sun, directly underneath it. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay, that only happens in between the tropics, right? Because that's the sun goes from tropic to tropic. That's why the tropics are what they are. Anyways, that ground speed of the point where you're directly under the sun, that's constantly moving. So
how do you know it's constantly moving?
Because the sun's moving above our heads.
But you're not saying on a constant speed. Sorry, I misunderstood. Okay.
No. Yeah, not a constant speed. I'm just saying it's constantly moving.
The
globe has it. Even the globe doesn't have it at a constant speed. The globe has it going slow on one tropic, then faster at the equator, and then it gets slower to the next tropic. So the globe's got it.
How much faster and slower?
I think it's like 900 something miles an hour to 1,000, back down to 900.
So you're doing linear speed?
It'd be very apparent if it was going slower to straight faster.
Jeremy, can I explain what I explained to you?
Have a show today or not?
You're leaving a lot of stuff out, man. Like, first of all, Jeremy's not talking about the sun speed. He's talking about the speed of the subsolar point, which is that point that
I explained that.
the sun, well, I know, but you kept saying the sun's speed, and people are wondering if you're talking about the speed of the sun or not. And that's number one. And number two is that point is always a single point on Earth at any given moment in time. On the tropics, it's on the solstices, it covers the entire tropic in one day. So there's 24 hours, one day over that tropic. On the equinox, it does one full day, just like every other day, but that day it's over the equator. And then the next solstice is over the tropic. And so that's what he's talking about, the speed. He's talking about the speeds because they all do 24-hour trips.
Yeah, but there's no way nobody on Earth can tell if the sun, like, if the sun makes that travel on, like, in the double distance, but it accelerates, you're gonna see the same effect on the ground. Like,
no, you're gonna measure a faster ground. No. You're wrong. You're gonna measure. You would measure a faster ground speed of the subsolar point.
How would you do that?
Because it would have to cover more distance. You get two guys with a stopwatch.
Go show.
You're saying, how do you measure it?
Yeah, how would you do that?
Okay, let me explain. You get two guys with stopwatches online at the same time. You would live stream it, right? And the one guy would get the subsolar point would come under the one guy. Yeah. And he would start the stopwatch.
Yes.
And then the next guy would get the subsolar point on the same latitude, and he would stop. They would then stop their stopwatches. They would now have a time.
Which is what?
They would now have a time. However many.
Put a time, like an hour.
Why?
So
Don't get bogged down with numbers. The numbers aren't important.
It is important, time, right? Because hold on.
Do you understand? They now have a time. Hold on.
Yes, Jeremy.
Just keep it simple for now. Relax. Let me walk you through it. They now have a time.
Don't worry about the numbers.
What happened to Flat Earthers only for an hour?
They now have a time.
Hasn't started
right?
yet.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm in here, but we will start in a minute. Go ahead. Let's get this done, and then we'll go to Flat Earthers.
Well,
go ahead. No, go ahead.
Hey,
all right, now you go to the center, to the inner circle one.
Are these two Flat Earthers? Like,
yes. Where's the Flat Earthers?
Okay, go ahead.
Jeremy, now you go to the inner circle, right? And you do the same.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So now both times you have 1 hour. Let's say an example.
You're
1 hour.
You're gonna be confused because you didn't let me walk you through the first part. So now you're still confused.
All right. Well, sorry. Walk me to the second part.
We were at the guys with the stopwatches. They subsolar point to subsolar point. They time it. They now have a time. They have a known distance in between them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we can now get the speed of the subsolar point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Distance over time or whatever the fuck the formula is. All right. So we check that against. We do that again in the south. Say we were in the north for that one. We would then do that in the south, and then get another distance. Another speed of the subsolar point. And see what that is. It would have to be fast. The globe has it at the same speed on both the tropics. Ours would have to be going faster. Very fast.
You're missing the point, Jeremy. I think this is where you're getting confused. If both examples have 1 hour of time between the first one that took the time and the other one take the time, and both have 1 hour. Like, how are you gonna tell if the sun moved faster or not?
Because we're gonna know the distance between the places that they traveled in an hour, right?
Well, which map are you gonna use to know the distance?
Do you know the formula for speed?
That doesn't matter. Just tell me.
It does matter. That's the crux. That's the crux
Jeremy,
of it.
which map are you gonna use to know the distance you are from one guy from the other? The sphere.
We're going to do verifiable distances that people
you're gonna drive it?
Yeah, we're going to do verifiable distances that people drive all the time, so we'll know the distance, or very close. I mean, it'll be an approximation, but a close one.
Hey,
all
so
right.
you guys.
So you're saying I get it. So you're saying. So you're saying. I was. Hold on. I'm talking with Jeremy.
Hold on.
Invoker.
Hold on.
You Flat Earthers are about to have an hour to yourself.
Invoker.
Yes.
Hold on.
Are you a Glober Invoker? Are you a Glober Invoker?
I'm Tim Osmond, yes.
Oh, yeah. You're going to have to wait, Tim. So, a Flat Earthers only.
Tim,
I thought you wanted to ask me a question in the text chat. You're welcome to come back later, though.
3 minutes.
So here.
It would take...
So, Jeremy,
give us an hour, Tim.
So I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
So on the outer circle, you're gonna start driving, let's say 100 miles, right? And you need more distance than that, but let's say 100 miles.
Yeah.
And in the inner circle, which it will be for us in the United States or more Canada or whatever, you're gonna drive another 100 miles. And if in the outer circle the sun does less time or more time, less time on the same distance, that would mean that the sun is going faster on the outer circle, right? Is that what I'm saying? What you're saying?
It needs to be going faster on the outer circle. It needs to be progressively going faster as it goes towards the outer circle. Whereas the globe has it going slower, faster, slower. But ours can't do that at all. It just can't. Ours has to be going slower to faster progressively. It can't be going slower, faster, slower like the globe numbers have it. So,
well, I thought the concept of the globe Earth, if it's like a cupola, then that sun is gonna go down and faster on the outside, or like in the bottom part of the cupola, and then it's gonna go up and slower on the center of the cupola.
The height doesn't matter of whatever the sun may be. The height, whatever it is, if it's a hologram or reflect, it doesn't matter. The height doesn't matter.
Are you sure the height doesn't
I'm
matter? 'Cause
positive.
I actually was thinking about this.
Are you Tim Osman?
If it's lower,
No,
no.
that's not Tim
If it's lower,
That's Gio.
Who was that?
If it's-
Gio? Oh, my bad, Gio.
I think if it's lower, you're gonna have different parallax.
The height doesn't matter.
For your Jeremy,
height doesn't
if
matter.
you have lower, if you have
I
lower,
think the height could matter if it's
It-
like if you were to imagine like a line that goes from, let's say, Polaris to the sun, and if you were to pivot it from Polaris, like the altitude of the sun, up or down. I was trying to think about this the other day. Would that actually change the ground speed?
The height doesn't matter. The ground speed is the ground speed. It's not going to be if you have a plane that's 10 miles above you or 1,000 miles above you, and it's moving a certain ground speed, the height's doesn't matter. It's moving that ground speed. So the actual speed of the sun, the height of it, doesn't matter.
Yeah, but if it's pivoting from a particular position, I think that changes it. Meaning that if it's just at a different height, that's one thing.
I'm telling you, the height. If it changes height throughout the course of the year, it doesn't matter.
well, and who's gonna do this test?
I got 5 people so far. You know anyone in the tropics? Holler at me. I need their latitude.
Which
Either latitude in their country.
which place?
Anywhere in the tropics,
Tell me a country.
bro. Any country in the tropics.
I don't know which countries are in the tropics.
India. I mean, get a map, bro. India, Africa, Hawaii's in the
Don't
tropics.
get mad, Jeremy.
Indonesia. Sorry, I'm all fired up. Indonesia, parts of Australia, Central America, maybe southern Mexico.
Southern
Get a
Mexico.
map. I don't know all the. Yeah, you got to get a map, bro. I don't know all the.
All right. I'm doing it.
Sorry, man. I'm all fired up.
Tropic of what? Capricorn, Cancer.
Tropic to tropic. Anywhere in between that, 20. I think it's 23 degrees. 23 point something. Anywhere in between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. I need people in between there with their latitudes and the country that they're in. And their latitude would help. You don't have to dox yourself.
Tropic.
So,
How do I search this?
Jeremy, why don't you kind of catch us up on what you guys are talking about exactly? 'Cause I think we
The
came in-
concentric circle thing with the subsolar point, you know?
Okay. So you've had some people that have signed up to help you. I think it was mostly Globers that signed up.
I got 5, maybe 6 Globers, yeah.
All right. All in the tropics. So that's between 23.4 north and 23.4 south, I think.
Yeah, something very close, something like that, yeah. That could be exactly it. I don't know.
Are you looking for what's it called?
Oh,
Volunteers.
so you already have a circumference and all that shit?
You're looking for
No,
volunteers
no.
from the flat earthers to help you do this.
Yeah, I
test.
see
Do you have
Kosho
anything
now
planned other
posting-
than just having some names of some people who can do it?
So
Sorry,
now
what'd you say, Brandon?
Kosho has a model and distances on the flat Earth.
Yeah, sorry, I was asking a question. So
Say it again.
do you have any plans other than just some names right now? Are you moving forward with anything, or?
I mean, I only have 5 people right now. That's not even nearly enough. You know, first of all, you got to match the latitude up.
Yeah.
So that's tough right there. And then you got to get people. You know, you might have a few cloudy days. I'm gonna need a lot of people for this. And the places in the tropics are like third world, like Africa, Indonesia, India, and shit. It's a bunch of like scraggly South America, Central America. It's a bunch of like people that aren't really involved in it. I don't see a lot of people from. I mean, I wish some big name globers or flat earthers would help us get on this. You know, this is something that could tell us a lot about our reality. I know heads might be scared because they got a lot invested in this, but I think this would be big for us to learn something about how our reality works.
I know a flat earther group in South Africa.
That's too far down.
Yeah.
You gotta be in the tropic, yeah.
I think another challenge with this is actually measuring it, the actual subsolar point itself. Like, I guess sticks and shadows is one way you could measure it, actually. You could also do, like, you could track how the speed of a sundial in the north and the south as well. That would basically show it as well, like the speed of the sundial.
Yeah, I think sticks and shadows would tell you pretty good. I mean, also time and date is going to have a subsolar point time when it's high solar noon. So,
And we have no refraction at all, right? Like
straight up.
yeah, like the sun doesn't go from like that light doesn't travel through cold.
Do you see it? Do you ever see the sun
and
skip? Do you ever see the sun skipping around in the sky?
skipping around the sky?
Yeah.
Well, I have seen
Yeah.
even like a huge circle with some kind of another sun on it on the top,
2 suns.
like on the sides.
Have you ever seen the sun be in one spot and then all of a sudden it's in another spot?
Have you?
Yeah,
Shit.
this has the potential to falsify the globe if you prove that.
This would. I was telling him earlier, and everyone got excited. This would flip me. I told Ranty you should have waited for this.
I don't know why you always frame it like that, Jeremy. This has the potential to falsify the globe.
Yeah, I mean,
If it's faster
the
in
flat
the
Earth.
south.
Yeah, this could definitely falsify the globe. It'd be pretty fucking hard to explain on a flat Earth too, though.
Well,
So,
it'd be hard to explain on either one.
Yeah, like the globe models would be.
Well,
destroyed.
okay, that's not technically accurate. It wouldn't be difficult to explain on a flat Earth because we don't presume to know what the sun is or how it works on a flat Earth. At least I don't. So I wouldn't offer an explanation. It wouldn't be difficult to explain because I wouldn't need to. The sun works how the sun works. That doesn't change what's under my feet.
Yeah, but,
Yeah, but
as
we're
long
measuring
as-
what's.
As long as
But what it can do is if somebody claims that they know how the sun absolutely does work, and you find out that it can't work that way because of reality, it can falsify that claim. So it can falsify the ball and not say anything about the way the Earth is shaped if it's flat, or like not have an explanation for it on a flat Earth. They can do both at the same time.
I don't know, man.
I
This
would say as long as you guys drive the distances, it's probably doable. But you need to take into account other things, Jeremy. But
like what? What should we take into account?
like I say, I still don't think that you don't have no refraction at all. Like I don't think that's.
So you think refraction is an issue for this?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah, because if let's say if that's this is the problem. If we live under a cupola or whatever, the sun is gonna the light.
did he cut out again?
Yeah, it must have been him.
Silent Zero, you keep cutting out every once in a while.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm gonna go on mute.
Okay.
I don't know, man. This would do it for me. You guys, other than the Pac-Man map, that's the most reasonable thing I've heard of how you would try to explain this away. Or the sun's moving faster over water where we're not measuring it. That's another halfway decent one, I guess.
Yeah, I'd have to think about what kind of alternative explanations there could be. But
Yeah.
it'd be interesting
And
to
like
see the
I said-
results.
Like I said, for this, it doesn't
Well-
matter what the sun is, what it's doing, how it works. If it's a hologram or reflection, it's irrelevant.
On 100 miles, what it would be the difference on the time? Do you know? Or you
I
don't
don't.
have, like, you haven't think on the logistic yet?
Yeah, I didn't. I'm just trying to get people that are willing to get involved with it right now. That we're on step one.
Right. Right. Okay, so if you're interested in getting involved with Jeremy on that, just hit him up in Discord. His name right now is in concentric circles in there.
Just please, Jeremy, if you do this, don't allow people to say, well, Google Maps says from here to here, this is the distance. Now we're gonna take the time. Please don't do that, man.
We're only doing it over
this is
known
gonna be
distances.
legit. Whoever you
We're only
grab,
doing it over known.
hold on.
We're only gonna do. Go ahead.
Yeah, whoever you get to do this, you need to drive that distance. Like, it needs to be
Yeah.
done so that we actually know that it's concrete.
I said before you got in here, you might have missed it, but I'm not gonna do from Hawaii to Africa or some shit. We're gonna do it over a known distance.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
something someone can drive or something and get the close to the actual distance from point to point.
All right. Well, let me at least
Yeah.
shout out who's in
Yeah.
here. We've got Jeremy, Crit, Farming Ganja, Geo, Helvetica Bold, Mark, Jace, Kosho, Pebble in the Pond, Silent Zero, and the real Bob Dole. What's going on, guys? What's new in the world?
Not much.
Nothing. Same old shit.
Not much.
No.
You guys see Brian's Logic and Ranty scheduled a debate to start at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow night, same time as our show.
On your
What
show?
the fuck?
On Cat's channel.
I thought they say they were gonna do it on your show.
I guess Ranty didn't want to do it here. At
Really?
least that's what Brian said. So Ranty didn't say that. But
Wow.
I don't know.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What's up,
Yeah.
guys? How's it going?
I thought Bev was gonna
What up,
debate
guy?
him or something. I mean,
Yeah, I've heard that
I
too.
did-
I don't
I-
know. Bev's in the chat. Maybe he can fill us in on what's going on with that debate, because I know
think he
I saw he
challenged him,
responded to
right?
a challenge from Ranty on that.
I think
video.
Ranty said he would only do it on Katz's channel.
Yeah, what's going on with that?
that
Oh,
sucks.
Well, I guess they're
That's his
partners now
boy.
on that other podcast, so it makes
Yeah.
sense. He'd wanna,
That's true. That's true.
You know.
Yeah, I put in there earlier, it's about control. They want to make sure anybody he debates is some sort of stooge, flat earther, who won't bring the correct talking points.
Well, I wouldn't say Brian's Logic is a stooge, but
That is what I see happen on some channels, though, is they find like The
Fight the Flat
dumbest-
Earth does it.
person possible. I don't know where the fuck he comes up with these guys,
Fight the Flat Earth.
and then just makes them look stupid for 2 hours.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they might even be on.
He
in
finds
on
them
it
on like
sometimes.
Twitter or Facebook. He gets them off like Twitter or Facebook or some shit. So I think he just makes them up. He just like pays his friends or random people or something. Who knows? I don't want to make any accusations, but they are some no-name, just terrible argument flat earthers that I see go on as shit.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people out there that watch that Glober content who really enjoy seeing people completely humiliated.
I mean, Percentage and Chemo went on there once. They did good.
Yeah, they did pretty good.
You know, sometimes you get some real deal people, but most of the time it's a fucking joke.
Yeah, no shit.
or they get real people and just don't air those ones.
Or
I
chop
think
it
he
up.
does it live. I think he does it live, no?
When I did it with him,
Mm.
it was live.
Yeah, he does a lot. That's what I mean. Brandon did it. He gets some real deal people sometimes, but for the most part, it's not. It's a joke.
Yeah,
Exactly.
everything the globalists do is a joke. That's why they only talk about flat Earth. It's like TMZ. You know, it's like what's a flat earther doing today? You know, they want to make all this about celebrity and about cult of personality. They'll even confess. They'll tell you it's just entertainment for them. It has nothing to do with science or any of this stuff.
Yeah, no, most of them will say that. Oh, we just want to laugh at you. I think what it is flat earthers are one of the last groups of people that you can openly ridicule like that. Just treat like total fucking garbage without any ramifications.
Yeah.
Because everybody
Well,
else
atheists-
is like you. Who else can you treat like total shit publicly?
There's not a lot of people. Yeah.
That's why.
So what you're
Yeah.
saying is that there's some people that feel like flat earthers' lives don't matter.
Yeah.
What they,
Flat earther life. Yeah.
the other group of people you can do this to are atheists. Everyone laughs at the atheists. So the atheists, instead of siding with flat Earth, they want to not be the dumbest
Wow.
people in society.
No, I'd beg to differ. It's Christianity that gets attacked the most, and everybody's cool with it.
Christianity
Not
does
like
get
everybody.
pretty fucking knocked around.
Can I bring up a point of contention?
What up?
Kimbo, what's
Of
up,
course.
buddy?
What's up, Kimo?
Yeah, you hear me on my mic? Okay.
Go ahead.
You're
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
You're
sound
clear.
Okay, good. So you know, like everyone watches Nathan's, and every time he asks for scientific evidence of, each subject, like gravity or something. So, as it stands, there is no scientific evidence for the globe or any aspect of it. But they suggest that mass attracted mass is, a force. And so I don't know if you've heard of there's a user called BioDuel, and he's proposed to do Cavendish in a vacuum, because it's been done outside of a vacuum, and I suppose the cause was like air or the draft or the atmosphere or something like this. So I'm thinking if he's successful and we do see mass attracting mass, would the flat earthers accept it as science or as evidence of gravity?
Kimo, why should we be worried about the Cavendish experiment anyway?
Well, hang on.
Did you get him to write down his hypothesis?
What's the material that he's using?
Hang on.
Mark,
why should we
your
be
mic's really
worried?
low.
I just want to know
Okay.
the material.
Well, he said he's
'Cause
going to use. I don't know if he was joking, but he said he's going to use a turkey. Obviously, the lead balls. So he's going to use different things like
A turkey?
cabbage, or lettuce, just different objects of mass.
Like a frozen turkey?
Yeah, just to rule out.
Well,
Yeah, but I don't know if he was joking, but he was saying that he's going to use different objects to see if, if it's the mass, right?
Yeah.
But
Kimo, why should we be worried about the Cavendish experiment anyway?
no,
Tell
not
him what
worried.
happens if it works, Chemo. Tell him what you're going to do if it works.
It doesn't matter whether it works or not. It doesn't tell us anything about the shape of the Earth.
No,
I tried
that's
telling him
true.
that.
But what it does do, it gives. I feel, just me. I know most people probably won't agree, but if I feel that there will be science to the question. Well,
Yeah,
is
there
there any
would be.
scientific evidence of gravity? And I feel if they're successful, we may see a ranty here.
Hang on real quick. Can I say something real
Oh.
quick? Not try to cut you off, but lead is diamagnetic, so it is affected by magnetic fields.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all good and well. Well, you know that we do follow the scientific method, right? So obviously, any predicted cause would have to be manipulated. Do you agree or
Correct.
disagree?
I would agree with that 100%.
What is his predicted cause?
Well, he says the massa. Mass
Yeah,
attracts mass.
It's a red herring. It's a red herring, gentlemen. This has got nothing to do with the shape of the Earth. whether we have gravity or mass attracting mass, it's just a total red herring, and it's being promoted by personalities within our circles rather than getting to the basics of the shape of the Earth.
Well, I agree with you on that one. It doesn't have nothing to do with the shape of the Earth. But Chemo, real quick, could you ask him to put it in between two magnets?
Yeah, he's bought the vacuum because this is how it happened, right? This was in December last year. So obviously, mass doesn't attract mass. I'm more like there's no gravity, blah blah blah. Then Dual, he shows up in the room and he's like, "Oh, well, yeah, there is science of mass attracting mass in a vacuum." I'm like, "Yeah, but it's never been seen." So he's like, "Okay, I'm going to go to a college or a university and speak to a professor." This is the first time we were going over it. He said, I'm going to get a professor. I'm going to get it shown. I'm going to record it. He went and checked it out. He says, oh, I can't get hold of one. So he did all other stuff trying to get it done or find a way he could see it. He said, oh, well, I can't find it anywhere. I'm going to buy the vacuum myself. So, 6 months later, he's showed me the list of things that he's bought. So he's buying a vacuum. He's going to put the Cavendish in it. And because I'm trying to get like the insight from the flat earthers.
Okay, I can make this really easy. One, first of all, you can't make a vacuum. It's not possible. It's not something that human beings can do. The only thing that we can do is suck a whole lot of the air and stuff out of an area. It's never going to be a vacuum. So no matter what they call it, it won't ever be them doing it in a vacuum. Okay. Number two, if they really think that mass attracts mass, as is the theory, they should be able to take two exact same shampoo bottles, set them near each other, and have them attract. If they can't do that, then mass doesn't attract mass. Period.
No, he will.
That's the reality we live in.
He will.
You don't get to go change all of the other things about where we live theoretically, because you can't make a real vacuum, and say, well, theoretically, if it was a real vacuum, we'd be able to make it do this.
Here's
I'm not kind of expecting this to kind of change everyone's mind, but obviously because if I was to ask everyone here what would convince you of the globe, you would probably all say different answers, and for me it would answer the question, how does like the tides work with the moon, and all that kind of stuff, and the pressure, the atmospheric pressure is another one. It would explain that. Not saying that it's true, but it would explain it. It would explain the force.
The thing that would convince me of a globe would be if I could experience it myself with my own senses at literally any time. It's never
So you'd
happened.
have to go into the sky high somewhere.
No,
yeah?
we shouldn't have to. If we're living on a ball, we should be able to detect it with our own senses. If we're spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, we should be able to detect it with our own senses. If we can't, that's not what's happening.
What do you think, Brandon?
Yeah, so
you're sitting there all quiet.
There's a couple things. Yeah, I've been waiting for my opening here. There's a couple thoughts that I have on this. One is they say that a gravimeter is impacted by the gravity of the sun and the moon. That there's some impact that they can link back to the sun and the moon. So how is he going to shield it from that? And will a Faraday cage? I mean, since that is what he's checking for, is that same effect, right? Mass attracting mass, and that's supposed to be happening from the sun and the moon. I just wonder if there's something else going on there, or the Earth's magnetic field, which he said a Faraday cage, but does a Faraday cage block the Earth's magnetic field?
It just deviates it a little bit, not too much. I already looked. I got the info. Hang on.
Yeah.
I already told you how I feel about this chemo.
Well, Jeremy, you said your sun thing would bring you to the globe, so I can't see how that proves a globe. If the sun does circle how you say it. I mean, we don't know what the sun is, do we? So, but like I say, it's different for everybody. Everybody has a different threshold. So, Brandon, I wanted to ask you what would bring you back to the globe? What evidence would be strong enough for?
Physical measurement of curvature.
Yeah. So there you go. Yeah.
Something I've been asking for. We've all been asking for a long time.
There you go. I tagged you in it, Brandon. It's a whole web. You can look at all that.
Okay. So does this say in here somewhere that it blocks the Earth's magnetic field? Does it specifically say that, or?
Right here it says magnetic shielding materials redirect a magnetic field so it lessens the field's influence on an item being shielded. Lessens. Shielding does not eliminate or destroy magnetic fields. Nothing does. It does, however, provide an easy path for the magnetic field to complete its path. You may think of it as, you can read all that. It doesn't really keep it. I mean,
How do they
especially
know
in the-
this? How do they know all that?
Right.
Paper,
I like to
right?
have a, yeah, well, a Gauss meter would be nice, or a F171 Tesla meter. What's not affected by temperature, so that would be nice to use inside. But that's
He's gonna do it
expensive.
live. He's gonna do it live
Really?
because I've got the ballers to understand that this has never been observed in a vacuum at any time by anyone
No, it has
anywhere.
not. I've been asking for it for a while. They keep telling me, "Oh, it's at a college." No.
Right, right. So for me, that should tell the ballers that it doesn't attract. So, but in the same breath, Jeremy, remember, if Bio said if it doesn't attract, then he gives up all his paradigm, he gives up the globe, he gives up all this nonsense. You see?
If it doesn't attract, this is Nobel Prize shit right here. Like somebody's gonna win a Nobel Prize from this. So there's gonna be a huge paradigm shift if it
Half
doesn't
the
attract.
ballers over there will have nowhere to go, right?
Yeah.
I find it hard
Yeah.
to believe that it's never been done in a vacuum chamber before. That's crazy.
It's never been seen, Brandon.
Oh,
no
I'm
one's
sure
ever
it
seen
has.
it ever. No one's seen it. Like they've said they've done it on paper. Like they've got a paper, and they said they've done it. But that's to me, it's just to support the heliocentric model. It's never been seen by human eyes. No one's ever seen in a vacuum mass attracted mass. So
Probably didn't do nothing. That's probably why I don't show it.
yeah, it's not going to move.
This wouldn't do it. This wouldn't do it for me because I feel like that could happen. Mass attracting mass thing. I feel like that could happen on flat Earth. So why?
Yeah.
Why would you
I
switch for that?
Well, it's just going down that alley, down that road to figure out more.
It would
to
explain a lot of shit for them, but I mean, at the same time, it could still happen on a flat Earth.
Yeah, yeah. But
How?
Remember when Bob put the so-called fiber optic gyroscope? Didn't he shield it too as well? And he had to change when he shielded it. And it's actually made of plasma. Did you know it's plasma?
Yeah, we'll get the data so we can see the data for it.
Yeah. Good luck on that.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think
yeah,
you
that's what.
worry about. Sorry,
but
go on.
why would it? Even if mass attracts mass, why would it prove the globe or falsify flat Earth?
It's not that it would
saying.
prove the globe like definitively, but it would explain a lot of the model that they say. Because if we say, so in my mind, so let's say when people say, how does the water stick to the ball? And then we pour water on the ball and it falls off. And they say, well, it's going to the biggest mass. But we say there is no mass attractive, So if we see this pulling force in this experiment, I just think it'll explain a lot about this idea that we're on a ball, right?
You set yourself up for a fail, though, because you put so much emphasis on this mass attracting mass when it doesn't tell us anything about the shape of the Earth. And if they demonstrate a flat Earth, they're saying mass doesn't attract mass, but they demonstrate that it does, then you've totally made yourself look stupid because you've attached a red herring to your position that the Earth manifests itself as flat and motionless.
I'll tell you right now, we better hope Chemo don't flip because he's a beast as a glober or a flat earther. It doesn't matter.
No, but
well, I don't know. That wouldn't flip the shape.
I'm sure. I mean, mass does not attract mass. This is the idea that was introduced.
Who cares? Who cares?
The
Why would you
ballers
care
care.
about-
Their paradigm rests on gravity.
So you're stepping into their world and trying to dismantle their beliefs.
Why not?
By exposing the globe lie. That's what I do.
Yeah.
To me,
But if
a non-conductive materials, they got to be non-conductive. Like he can hang bags even if he hangs sandbags from the like if Blue was doing his experiment. I've done a lot of videos on that. But if he was to hang sandbags, like it's been pointed out that brass eye, like that's one of the things he changed to get everything working right. They did so many changes, and every one of them had to do with the electrostatics, like the grounding had to do with electrostatics, the foil inside the setup had to do with electrostatics, the different metals for the wire. I mean, they could say whatever, but it's different. It's all different conductors, and then when they finally get it how they want it working, they say, "Oh, there it is, mass attracting mass." So it's mass repelling mass 1 minute, you know.
Can I say something real quick? Diamagnetism that repels, right? It's a weak force electrons that are not short. That's not electrostatic. So how do you get away from that?
Right. They say diamagnetic to make something sound like, you know, but I mean, it's conductive. I want something. I want something. I want to see a few different examples, at least one though, of something non-conductive. I like the sandbags. See, he tried it with sand, and he did it live, and it stalled. I mean, it sat there and stalled, and I made a video on that. Anybody want to see my opinions of the flaws of his test? Go to Flat Earth Test. I'll post I'll post one of the videos in general. There's a few of them. That's my opinion on the flaws, because look, you got to eliminate all the variables. You can't just say, okay, I got electrostatics taken care of. Now it's exactly, you know, so if it was the wire, okay, if it was only the wire making the what do you call the back and forth, the oscillation, okay, then why did it go to one point and then just stop? Okay, so that tells me that the electrostatics is still involved. To me, all they're doing is varying electrostatics, and there could be it's possible now. I'm just saying it's possible. There's something that they're not factoring in.
But Brian,
as far as electromagnetism, beyond electrostatics.
Brian, I mean, well, because how if because we hear QE and you know, he expresses the scientific method. Now, obviously, I know he's going to say this is man-made, but I have an idea of how to say we see this, which I'm not going to introduce until he's actually done the experiment. So we can bypass that and just use the method and say, okay, we've got variables, cause and effect. So you're saying, Brian, there's another cause to this acceleration. So let's imagine. Hold on. Let's imagine we see the masses attracting. Now we're looking at this. Now you're saying we have to have a hypothesis. Now you're going to say the cause is what?
I'm gonna say like electromagnetism.
Okay, how would you? Okay. How are you going to manipulate this electromagnetism?
I would do exactly what they're doing. I'd ground it differently and see different results. I would put foil up and see different results. I would use different metals and see different results. Different pins to hang the shit off of. Different. I'd do everything they're doing to prove it's electromagnetism.
No, can I take on it? Well, elevation, changing elevation and weather conditions. So like a thunderstorm, if you do it in a thunderstorm versus clear skies. Because lightning is a natural phenomenon that charges our Earth or atmosphere. So, or whatever atmos.
I'm not ruling out that there is not a pull that they're saying. I want everybody to be clear on that. I have a very, very strong opinion that it is not just a unknown force. I mean, to me, it's a known force. It has to do with electromagnetism. But I'm not going to 100% rule out. But until they isolate the variables properly, it's not proven.
But Brian, this is kind of my point. If we're going to be fair and we're going to follow the scientific method, so the scientific method says we have a hypothesis that it has a predicted cause.
Yeah. Change it.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm telling you, if you go higher up, that's more positive charges you're going to get. You might get a different result than you would at sea level.
Well, they said they could do it without lead, attracting lead, and he used a non-conductive material, which is what I've been saying, which is sand. And I would have complained if he hung it on the eye, if he hung it on the same thing. He'd have had to hang it without in metals, like that brass eye that he hangs the shit from. But he set the sandbags right by the mast, right? And then it didn't do shit, right? It stalled, and then he put the regular brass balls behind the sandbags, and then bam, it started pulling. It's like and he says it's because the sand was in a plastic bag which had static. That's possible. I'll give him that. That's possible. But that's the whole point. Is to me they're narrowing down and getting the electrostatic force exactly how they want it, with whatever materials and whatever whatever they set it up. They're getting it exactly how they want it to match the rate that they need, in my opinion. And they keep saying, well, go ahead. I'll let somebody. I don't want to get too long-winded.
No, it's quite right. I think it's exciting because, like I said, it's never been done. Well, they say it's been done. It's never been seen before. So it would just be interesting either way.
Well, Kimo, question: how big is this vacuum chamber going to be?
Oh, he gave the measure. I can't remember what. I'll get it. We'll get the measurements and the specs. He did post it in Gems there.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing about that comes to my mind is that you're still not really isolating all the other possibilities of, unless you can really isolate what the cause is. It's still just the observation of an effect, and there could be any other number of things going on. Even components of the environment, or what I would call the ether, that are perhaps even undiscovered. The effect, like Brandon said, the sun, the moon, and the stars, have like the way that, like the alias effect, where it affects pendulums. So that's the only problem with it, is that you're still not really isolating anything, scientifically, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure a vacuum. I don't think a vacuum would change much. I think the little tiny bit of wind, it could be making the electromagnetism could be creating the tiniest of wind currents. But even then, if a vacuum would it'd be less resistant. So if
the only way this changes anything, sorry, Brian. The only way this changes anything for in my eyes or for humanity is that if it doesn't attract. Then you really got something there, because it's like, oh shit. But if it does attract, this ain't gonna be nothing new. They still don't know the cause of the effect. It's not science. You say mass attracts mass, and mass is the cause. Leaky, you're back on a little bit.
Sorry.
Like even at the end of this and that. Go ahead, bro.
I also agree with what Jeremy was saying. I mean, you technically, you could have mass attracting mass on a flat Earth, or level Earth, but the globe earthers more or less need that. I mean, I know that they've kind of moved to the warping and bending of space-time and different theories, but in terms of their entire idea that we're all, sticking to the center of a globe and all that, they do depend on that, for their model.
Yeah, that would help my thoughts. Hold on, Jeremy. That would help my thoughts. And like, I don't think there's a force holding me down. That's like saying there's a force pushing things up at the bottom of the ocean, pushing air up. There doesn't have to be a force if stuff's going up just the same. If everything behaves following the rules of relative density, if there's no void, like we can't go past 8 miles. Okay, so if they can dig down and get to a void, or if they can go up and get to a spot where there's nothing at all, like a void, a complete void, then okay, then you might need a force. But as long as there's a medium, then everything's going to follow the rules of relative density. You can't get out of that one. But to end it, I'm going to say that I mean, it's going to prove even if there is a force, if it's electromagnetism, I don't think that's what's holding me to the ground. I just think that's just them proving electromagnetism. But if they could prove that it's mass attracting mass, I would at least consider. It wouldn't prove a globe, but it would help out a lot tremendously. But it would lend credence that there is a force pushing down, which I currently don't believe.
I mean, I got to give Chemo props for this. If it doesn't work for them, they're fucked. They'd have to rethink everything they know about, what's holding us down and mass attracting mass and all that. Same thing with my subsolar point. I mean, if it goes our way, they're fucked. There's a lot of things that can totally fuck them on this. So,
hey, Chemo, I did show, and they had complaints, but I did show when you ground metals, conductors, when you use conductive wire and you ground metal into the earth, you do draw a little current. Okay, they don't like it, but it's a fact. So I would say you also demand chemo that they've got to prove that they got to do it with non-conductive items.
Yes.
Period.
If they do
I've
it
seen-
with
Go ahead.
conductor, it'd be nice to have a Tesla meter to see if there's any variation. If like the electromagnetic field is weaker here, and you got more of an effect, or stronger there, or less of an, that type of thing. I would like to know.
Yeah, because if you're putting something into the ground, I don't care if they're all grounded together. I mean, it definitely dulls it out, but it's still you got current, whether it's stalling. They say that it's all going to the ground, but then how am I getting current from the ground? And if anybody doubts me, I could prove it.
I mean, again, for me, it's just interesting because it's like we're under the impression that there is a pull, like the object and the other object will pull on each. Now we know that's impossible. There is no pulling of that kind. Everything requires a pressure. So unless something's pushing it from behind, it's not going to pull from itself and then accelerate. So I've got
it's atmospheric. It's like atmospheric electricity, kind of, man. And so that's why I say conductors. Does everybody agree that it's got to be something non-conductive if they're going to prove anything?
Yeah,
I agree.
They've got to
100%.
isolate the variables. I think Gio said it well. The variable that is causing it has to be isolated.
Yeah,
absolutely.
because you got to think you can apply Did you know you can apply a laser heat right to pyrolytic graphite on a neodymium magnet, which will be diamagnetic, and you could repel it. You could push it just with heat.
At the end of this, they're going to say mass is the cause. So they're going to isolate the mass? I mean, this doesn't even make sense. They're still not coming up with the cause.
The thing is they could prove this too. They could isolate this shit. They could show that the conductor has nothing to do with it. They could show that they could do it in a vacuum chamber. That'd be a little tougher, but they could do it. They could eliminate these variables and show us if it was possible. And Blue, like I said, he's already got the setup. He's really personally mad at me, dude. And I'm like, dude, I'm poking at him a little bit to try and making special requests. But it's because I'm genuinely curious, and he's already built the thing, and I wasn't trying to piss him off that bad. I was poking at him to try and get him to expand it. But the closer I get to home, like the madder they get at me, man. It's crazy.
You're beating around the bush, though. At the end of this, they're still not going to know the cause. So no matter how this turns out for them, unless it doesn't attract in a vacuum, in the end, they're still not going to know the cause. So
I personally don't think a vacuum is going to make much difference at all because there's still atmospheric electricity. The energy's still there. And Gleam spoke on that shot. The Gleam, he spoke about how the 0 point energy, the measured energy in a vacuum is there's energy there that's unaccounted for if there's no ether, So it's a different subject, but it's the same point, There's even though there's no air in there, there's still electricity.
Yeah, but is there pressure? Is there pressure in that? Remember,
that's what the electricity causes. That's basically what volts is. Volts is pressure, right? Or the amps is pressure. The amps is pressure, and the volts is the flow of the pressure, right?
If you have voltage, do you have to have some amount of amps no matter what? Or I'm not.
No, you can have unless it's something I've never measured. And these meters are pretty damn. They're pretty freaking spot on, But as far as I'm concerned, I've got 100 batteries that are messed up that will show voltage with zero current whatsoever.
So you can have voltage with no amp.
Yeah, but you cannot have amps without volts.
That doesn't make sense, but all right. I'm not an electricity guy, so you could be right.
We got to get your electricity guy on it.
Yeah, I mean, I have to call.
Well, me, I've never done it. I'm going to have alternate thoughts because I know the equation and all that Ohm's law and all this stuff, but it's my hobby, man. I'm not an electrician, but it's my hobby, man, is batteries and alternative energies and shit like that.
Oh, yeah, I'm on board with you on that one.
Let me read this super chat. Unicorn Laser Eye, $5. As one of the lead ballers, Reds should be consulted on this. Has anyone talked to Reds lately? Hashtag Reds on the run. Yeah, I heard there's some drama going on over there and on the spinning ball side. Fun stuff.
Oh, with Sean Hufford?
Yes. John Hufford, yeah.
Those dudes are some fucking weirdos, man.
I think he
Strange
stole like
cat.
10,000. I think he stole some money from his patrons or something.
Shit, what's new? You ever see that spreadsheet that used to float around that had a total of all of the money those guys have raised for different shit?
Right.
I mean, it was like 30 grand. That was like 2 years ago.
They even took 20 grand for flight to north to south flight.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
they
right.
never
What
did
was
the
that guy's
flight,
name?
yeah.
That was Greater Sapien, yeah.
Greater Sapien, Wolfie's buddy.
Yeah. Stole $20,000 off the people, thinking they were going to do a north to south flight around their imaginary ball, and said, no, it's not happening.
That's awesome, dude, that y'all brought that up, man. Because let's just put this whole thing to bed. Let's go from South America, the west side of South America, to the east side of Australia on a one horizontal, and let's put this whole thing to bed. They fly over the North Pole daily, okay? And if everything's the same, it shouldn't matter. Now they can't say temperature because it's gonna be cold as shit up there at 30,000 feet, no matter where the hell you're at, okay? So there's no excuse not to do that if they want to prove that they're
Would you get in that flight, Leaky?
Man, I don't know, man.
I wouldn't.
I'd
Bro,
pay
you got a
somebody.
bad
I'd pitch in to
echo.
pay somebody to do it.
Your mic's
you got
all
a bad
fucked
echo,
up,
bro.
man.
Hang on. So Chemo, hey, I tagged you. I tagged you in a video. He used sodium metal, right, in a vacuum tube, right, and it still is diamagnetic and paramagnetic fields is still in there, so you can't escape that, even in a vacuum.
Yeah, but is it a cause of the effect? Is what we're
Watch
looking
it.
for.
Watch that. When you watch that video, this guy breaks it down amazing. Like, there's so much to touch up on.
Okay.
I saw something interesting, Mark, you just posted about the argument from ignorance. You say that
Yeah, Chemo started off with referring to Nathan's housekeeping questions, and every one of those is an argument to ignorance, and it's an informal logical fallacy. Just because there is no evidence for something doesn't mean that you can dismiss it.
Well, it's an extraordinary claim these guys are making, and if there's not evidence for it, what are you gonna do?
Right.
It doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but we're in a debate here, and if you don't have evidence for the thing you're debating, you lost.
No, that's where the fallacy comes in. Just because there's no evidence for it doesn't mean that you can totally dismiss it. You have to just put it on the shelf in case other evidence comes along.
So if somebody claims they have scientific evidence of gravity, and then I ask for the science and they can't produce any, that's a fallacy on my part?
No, every one of Nathan's questions has to be no. By when the panelists join in, is there any evidence for gravity? The answer
Where's the
no.
Where's the fallacy, and is there any scientific evidence of gravity? How's that a fallacy?
Because they're looking for the answer of no, and they all say no.
They're looking for the evidence of scientific evidence of gravity.
Okay,
just because they can't produce any doesn't mean it's a fallacy on Oakley's part. That's crazy, bro.
Yes, it does. You've missed the point of the argument from ignorance. Just because the answer is no doesn't mean that.
Well, hold on. Let me respond.
You're bugging, Mark.
I'll let him explain the argument. Hell of bold.
It's just called Mark.
Mark. Yeah. Continue, please. Yeah.
Is there any scientific evidence to the distance of the sun?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if any one of the panels says anything other than no, they are pounced on and verbally abused. Now, if you say no, there's no evidence to the distance of the sun, doesn't mean that there isn't ever going to ever be evidence to the distance of the sun.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the fallacy comes in.
So hold on, you say Nathan shouldn't ask or we should ask?
Well, if we want to discuss Nathan, we'll discuss the cult following that he has.
Listen, if I ask if there's any science...
I mean, the questioning is the questions. Are they fallacious? Should they be asked or not be asked?
Okay, let me give you an explanation of what the argument from ignorance is. It asserts that a position is true because it has not yet been proven false, or a position is false because it's not yet been proven true.
No. If I ask if there any scientific evidence for gravity and nobody can give me any, that's not a fallacy on my part. It's just you don't have the evidence for it.
Yeah, let
That's
me
where it
respond
ends.
to Mark.
It's not a fallacy,
like
bro. You're bugging, Mark.
Like I was joking around the other day, Mark. I was joking around talking about Brian's law. You know, I was playing, but I was just making the point that his law. Okay, when they say that the laws of motion and everything, Newton's law, where objects fall at a rate of 9.8 meters per second squared due to disequilibrium. Okay, they just say due to gravity. That's not proving gravity. That's just putting a little clause at the end, due to gravity. I say due to disequilibrium because we know that's why things fall, is because you lift them up in the air and then they fall.
Okay, listen, argument from ignorance is an informal fallacy. Tell me why you believe that Nathan's questions does not fall into that fallacy of argument from ignorance.
Because if the Globers are making claims that they have scientific evidence of gravity.
Nathan's questions.
No,
okay,
his questions are based out of something.
Hold on, guys, hold on. Nathan asked, "Do you have any scientific evidence of gravity?" Now, if they don't, then they don't. How is it fallacious?
Because there may be. That's the whole idea.
Well, then they can present it, and then we'll see. But until then, they haven't, and they can't because they don't. It's not fallacious, bro. You're bugging. You're getting me.
Yeah,
pissed,
what is fallacious about asking for scientific evidence for gravity? Like I said,
you're getting me pissed,
because you can't use math, Mark, because I could just say they say due to gravity, I say due to disequilibrium, the actual cause, right?
Mark, are you saying that if they don't have the answer, the panel?
No, I'm talking about the.
Hold on. If the panel doesn't have the answer, doesn't mean there's not an answer.
Exactly, you've got the point.
That's what you mean.
May I say something here? Do you agree that those questions are posted because somebody claims there's evidence?
No. We're not looking at the actual argument itself. We're looking at the question, and it falls into argumentum ad ignorantium.
All right. How do you ask somebody for evidence on something without being a fallacy then?
Being fallacious.
Based on what you're saying, pretty much anybody that asks for evidence of anything is fallacious.
No, they don't ask for the evidence. They say, "Is there any evidence?" They're not asking for evidence. So it's an appeal to the
debate format, bro.
They're asking if there's any evidence.
Yeah, all those questions can be answered with yes, and they can give the evidence. Then you debate the evidence.
Exactly.
No. They don't ask.
Listen, I've answered every single Nathan Oakley's questions to the point where Global said your answers are actually pretty good. It's not that hard to answer.
Yeah, to a Glober.
Gentlemen, can I speak?
The problem is supporting your
answer.
The nature of the question is
you've got it wrong.
The nature of the question is a yes or no answer.
And it's yes. Every single one of those are yes. The problem is the person.
Let Mark go.
Okay.
Correct.
If you were to ask what evidence do you have for, then that's a genuine regular question. But the structure of the question is there any evidence for? And every one of the panelists, to stay on Nathan's side, has to say no. And so there's an argument to the negative.
I don't know.
You know how much debate went into.
How about next time you join? How about next time you join?
Somebody just spoke for me and said, and when that question's put to me, I have to say that. Can you just back that up, whoever?
Hey, yeah, do you know how much debate went into forming them questions? Mark, you got to understand how much
Adam go.
brother.
A bold statement to say that I'm some kind of patsy. So go on, back it up.
At least 2 years of
listening away. You're at
least 2 years of show for those questions to come into place, though.
No. Can we? Whoever that was calling me and saying that I have to do certain things. I'm not sure who it was. Yeah, but whoever it was, address that point. Because you just made one hell of a bold accusation to back up the bullshit you were just talking beforehand with regards to trying to interpret a question that requires a yes or no, but they can then follow on for clarification to try and imply that somehow that's perverted. I don't know.
Adam, it's me.
What is going on?
Well, Adam, if you belong to the cult of Nathan, that you're going to get angry about my question.
Whoa, double accusation.
I think, wow, bro, that was cold.
That's dirty, man. That's dirty.
Come on, Mark.
You know how much time they put into forming them questions, though?
Okay, I
Right.
got the.
Okay.
Hey, Mark, listen.
I'll just. It's not you, Mark Doxy.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Oh, you bumming
Adam.
Bob. Is that why you're doing this?
Adam, listen. Can I have Adam?
Shame on you, bro.
Alone.
Shame on you, because you're not spitting. I don't want to go down this route. I'm just going to say to you, you're not spitting truth now. I didn't notice you. I didn't notice you. I just heard somebody of all the stuff to discuss come in and try and stir shit against the nature of trying to reword or reinterpret what is a clear question to Nathan's and cast aspersions upon it. You're snide, bro. Shame on you. I'm done with you, fella. I've made my statement on you.
Are you going to run away
now? To tell me who I am and what I do and what I have to do.
Adam, are you going to run away? Are you going to run away?
Shame on you, bro. Shame on you.
I'm
done with you once I've finished these statements. So you can keep interrupting or you can let me finish it so I'm done talking with you in a much quicker time, which I'll be very happy about. Shame on you, bro. Shame on you.
Can I speak now?
I'd like to address Mark Doxy,
Say what you want,
please.
but you won't get a response from me now, mate. Done with you, pal.
Okay, folks, listen. When Nathan starts his show, he says, share the show so we can welcome diversity. If any voice of diversity...
because he likes to have a show.
And any voice of diversity comes into his show, they get pounced on and they get verbally abused. So he's not looking for diversity. He's looking for
Mark,
somebody
listen to the first 1,000 episodes, Mark.
Don't divine his thoughts, man.
How
Come
about
on.
next time you what you mean by diversity? Listen,
how about next time you just join?
Yeah, maybe you should join the show.
Yeah, just join and you solve the problem. There you go.
Okay, well, if the show starts with sensible questions that don't rely on an argument from ignorance, I would join the show.
It's not an argument from ignorance.
It's not an argument from ignorance, Mark.
Mark, do you have any scientific evidence of gravity, Mark?
Hold on. Next time,
No.
look, prepare your...
No, let Jeremy go.
Do you have any scientific
on,
evidence
man.
of gravity, Mark?
Gravity is not the question I'm bothered about.
Do you have any scientific evidence of gravity? Yes or no? Simple question.
No.
Wait, which question are you bothered with, Mark?
Shut the fuck up, guys. Scientific evidence of gravity, Mark.
I don't care.
He said he don't got a problem with that, Jeremy.
Oh my God.
Have you, listen,
Maybe
Jeremy.
give him a different question.
Jeremy, just look up argument from ignorance over the next 24 hours.
This is not it, bro. You're
Okay,
wrong. You're
They're
dead
not
wrong.
ignorant of the fact that they have no scientific evidence.
Well,
for
wait,
gravity.
Mark, which questions do you
wanna
have a
move on
problem
to
with?
question number 2?
I would say
it's not the question itself. It's the logical fallacy that they're using. And argument from ignorance.
I would say next time prepare a whole hour or whatever of evidence. Join the chat or the channel and show your evidence so that the question is not a fallacy. So that
It's a question. It's not an argument. First of all, it's a question. It's not an argument. They haven't even started arguing yet because they're just asking a question. So how is it an argument from ignorance?
There you go.
When it's
Good
a
job,
question.
Exactly. Somebody's got to come in and make a claim. Okay, Mark? You know that, man. Somebody's got to come in and make a claim.
And do you think that the panel is not programmed to say yes or no to Nathan's?
Bro, it took them almost 1,000
Mark,
shows.
can I ask you a question? Hang on.
Yes. Hold on, guys.
Everybody relax, please. Can I ask one simple question? Mark, what makes you think that Earth has a shape?
I think you're going off course here. I'm talking about argument from ignorance.
Mark.
I like
Yeah,
Jeremy's
you're arguing from ignorance.
But how is this? Yeah, exactly. Can you please answer Jeremy's question, please?
Jeremy, give me the question again.
It's not. This is not an argument from ignorance. He's asking a question. The argument hasn't even started yet.
Right. But
Okay,
how is this an argument from
if people
ignorance?
answer no, if people answer no, they don't.
Okay, listen. My
Where's
position
the argument
is
from ignorance come in?
my position is the nature of Nathan's show. Can we stick to that particular point?
So make it
So you have a problem with his show?
Yeah, you don't have a problem with the questions. You got a problem with the individual. What you're doing is basically global.
Let me defend Nathan's show real quick. Give me 1 second to defend Nathan's show. They isolated them questions from like 2 years every single day debating ballers. They've isolated them questions, and what Nathan does is he stops them as soon as they introduce fallacy. They have to come in and make the claim, Mark.
The question
that's,
itself is fallacious.
It's not.
Why are we even talking about? He's not even here.
How is the question fallacious?
Because
I'm gonna get so many fucking messages from QE after this.
Dude, he's not even here, dude. So there's no point in talking about
He's
this.
listening.
Mark has a right to his opinion. I don't know why we're all getting excited, but
fair enough. But he called somebody out as dishonest, so
yeah,
I got to defend.
When did I say somebody was dishonest?
Yeah,
When did I say
Brandon, Brandon, that was why I stepped in, bro, because I was quite categorical. It was the accusation was that those that go on the panel I would consider myself on, and that was a clear and categorical allegation against me about me and how I behave and how I think and how I speak in public, as if I'm controlled in some way. I found that deeply offensive.
Yeah, well, that's why if you would have let me finish, I was going to say Adam has already said that he doesn't think it's like that, and he joins the show. So if Adam doesn't feel like that, then Mark, why is it that you say that? I mean, why are
the nature of the show is based on a cult where the same questions are asked every day, and if anybody dares to answer against the QE script, then they will be pounced on and be berated and be verbally abused. Well, it was QE, Sleeping Warrior, and Nathan designed those questions, and every one of those questions is based on the logical fallacy of appealing to the negative.
How long have you been listening to Nathan, though?
Yeah, they're based on debate.
So we've got this hour of no ballers, and what we're going to choose to talk about is how another show is or isn't a cult. Is that what you guys want to talk about?
Baller, then, isn't it?
Nathan's show is not a debate. Come on.
I don't care if it's a debate or not.
Question. What is your problem besides the people? I don't care about the people because I have my own situation. We have our opinions, right? Who cares about that? Because that's just nonsense, and this is going down a path we don't need to go.
Well,
We're
okay.
talking about
all right, I'm going to read some super chats here. Unicorn Laser Eyes. Distance to the sun is a measurement, not science. I agree. Yes, thank you, Unicorn Laser Eyes. And as far as I'm concerned, I haven't seen a measurement of the distance to the sun. I've seen calculations, but no measurement. And then there was a couple more. Let me find them. Aaron Armstrong. Greater Sapien paid back every cent to those who donated to his GoFundMe. Chemo has his information wrong. Okay, I'll mention that one on the show, Aaron. Thank you very much. Or when I open back up the chat. James Mays, $20. Thanks, James. Mark, do you have any answers for any of the housekeeping questions? Obviously, you want to ask that of Mark. I think that's kind of been asked of him, but I'll bring that up too. Thanks, guys. Not really what I wanted to spend my time doing tonight. Debating whether Nathan's show is a cult or not.
Yeah.
Because
he said that.
Tell me which one is loaded.
No, he said it was a loaded question. How is it a
I want to hear
loaded
which
question?
one is loaded. Because you didn't have a problem with the gravity.
I think I get him slightly, but
Mark's making some pretty bold statements, and we're letting him get away with
I
it.
think we have to look at the position. So, if we are flat earthers, we know it's flat. So most people are not going to go back to the globe. We know that. So if we have that understanding, and then ask somebody, well, have you got evidence for gravity? Knowing, because our position is, so it doesn't matter what they say.
I'm going to have to stop you there. That's not the question. It's, is there any evidence of? It's not, what is your evidence?
He's already said he don't have a problem with the gravity.
So Mark, if someone says yes to Nathan, yes, there is evidence, then what's Nathan going to do? What's the next line? He's not going to, is he going to be, are you saying, is he going to be honest in seeking the evidence, or are you saying that
the only answer acceptable to that show is no? Anybody that comes
wrong, go through it with me. If
anybody comes along and says yes, they get verbally abused, or they get muted, or they get talked over.
No.
No. Really?
All right, we've heard Mark's opinion. We've heard everybody else's opinion on Nathan's show. You guys want to debate it more? Take it over to his fucking show and debate it with him. Because I don't want to spend the time and the audience's time sitting here debating whether his show is a cult or not.
I think Mark's just trying to poison the well.
Well, what do you think that we're missing on the other side, Mark Doxy? What do you think that we're missing?
I don't know. It's kind of
No, I don't want to
hypocritical.
keep the
'cause earlier-
subject going. So let me
Hang
read
on,
these
no,
super
let me
chats.
say one more
So
thing.
you know,
Can I say
no,
one more?
No. Unicorn laser
Brendan wa-
eyes. Distance to the sun
Brendan
is a
wants to
measurement,
refresh-
not science. $2. Thank you. Aaron Armstrong, $5. Greater Sapien paid back every cent to those who donated to his GoFundMe. Chemo has his information wrong. So Aaron Armstrong says that he paid that back. Chemo. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, I want to
hearing
change the
you say
subject.
that he took the money. Maybe you did. Maybe you said it like that. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know if he did or he didn't, but the point was that the trip wasn't a real trip, so it was a hoax.
Why didn't they do it? Why wouldn't they just do it and prove the globe?
That's the real question.
He said he got
Yeah.
scammed.
Wouldn't you do it? I would. If I had 20 G's and the flight cost 20 G's, I wouldn't personally do
Yeah.
it because
Hey, how about the Guinness Book of World Record? The guy went from South America, I think it was, or like Rio de Janeiro. That's where they started. Or they started in the North Pole. They went down to Rio de Janeiro in South America. They went to the South Pole and turned around and went back to Rio de Janeiro in South America. And Guinness gave them the record. I don't know if it still stood, but they said that the weather got too bad at the South Pole. So you're above the weather, above the clouds, but the weather got too bad. Now, the next time they went to break the record, they went from like the east, or they went from Africa and went down to the South Pole and then went over to South America. So, I mean, they could, so they're trying to do this, y'all, but they've gotten closer. They've gotten from just going South America and back up, which is total nonsense, to Africa. Okay, that to me shows they can't do it, or they already would have went from the east side of South America to the west side of Australia. I mean, come on, they would already done it.
Yeah, well, maybe Greater Sapien got scammed, because that is what he claimed at the time, if I remember correctly. Along with everybody else who paid for that flight. Those things do happen. I just find it interesting that no one has tried to do it since. Now, there was that 747 pilot who put that video out maybe a month ago where he said, I'll charter a flight. And I thought about, that'd be interesting for somebody to organize. I'm not going to fucking organize it. You're going to have to raise like a ridiculous amount of money. That's going to take so much time and effort to actually organize that and get him to fly that, and then
Brandon?
who knows at the end if you'll even be allowed to do it.
Yeah, I think each ticket is $50,000, right, Brandon, to go to Antarctica?
Jaronism already tried to contact him.
Yeah, Jaron accepted the challenge, and the guy tried to refer him to somebody who wouldn't do it.
They backed out. Of course they did. Yeah. So I thought about doing it myself, and I was like, no, I'm not even gonna waste my time. Fuck that. But
even if we, my bad, go ahead.
No, go ahead, because I was gonna move on.
Even if we did raise the money for it, I wouldn't fucking go on that flight. I got a family and shit. If it was just me, I'd be like, yeah, let's go. But I think you're gonna fucking, I don't know. I don't think it's possible.
If there's any new people out there listening, they've already tried it and they had to turn around because of bad weather. Okay, if they're flying 20, once you get up to about 20,000 feet, you're above the weather. Okay, they didn't think we'd notice shit like that, but anyway, so they're trying to just go straight over from East South America to West Australia, and they get to the South Pole with Guinness on the line, the Guinness Book of World Record on the line. They get to the South Pole. That's like saying you're going to swim halfway across the English Channel and you get tired and you turn around. Come on, common sense.
And they still give it to you. And they still give it to you.
Yeah. So I swam the English Channel by going halfway and turning around. You still flew the same distance. That's the whole joke of it. You see, they went to the South Pole and turned around. It's a fucking joke. It's literally a famous joke.
Gleam has done a lot of work on looking at those flight paths that they claim are ones that have done this circumpolar navigation over the South Pole, and he's got some interesting stuff on there. Next time he's on, we'll have to ask him to talk about that, because he went back and forth with Wolfie and all those guys for quite a while. James Mays, $20. Mark, do you have any answers for any of the housekeeping questions?
Oh, is that for me? Yeah.
Yes.
Well, if you answer no, then it falls under the argument from ignorance.
All right.
He's asking you.
Is it possible
What's
to
your
talk
answer?
about this, Brandon? Can we talk about this but not mention, other people, but in the arguments themselves? So if we're asking them fallaciously, I mean, we need to know.
Yeah, let's talk
How
about.
about, without invoking the show, I got the housekeeping questions right here. So without invoking anyone else, just a question. First one. Any sign of curvature?
Okay, can we go with that one?
Yeah, go with it.
The panel will say no. Is the panel
dude, what the fuck? What is wrong with your thinking right now?
Like that show or anything, just as in general question.
It's the format. No, it doesn't matter what my opinion
Okay,
is.
it's just me
the
and you right
format.
here.
How is that a fallacy? How is it a
The
fallacy?
No, Mark Doxy.
It's
You're
the
using this opportunity to complain about Nathan rather than offer
Yeah, don't.
information.
It's the
This
format
simply
of the
won't
show.
do.
It's
the
just
format
me
of the
and you
show.
here, okay?
So,
No one else.
Mark Doxy, if you have no answers, then I guess we.
It's only me and you, okay? Don't invoke anyone else, okay? I'm simply asking you a question.
But where'd you get the question from Nathan's show? So look,
No, I didn't. I did not get that from that.
Offer something constructive, Mark Doxy, or you may be muted.
I'm asking for a friend.
Who's gonna mute me?
I will.
But Mark,
Fuck
why
You're
do you
not
want
going
to
to turn
make
this
this
into
about
a
Nathan's
complaining
show?
shit show.
He's right.
You're going to answer with legitimate information, or you'll be muted. It's that simple.
Okay, listen.
Yeah, all
maybe,
of our information, the whole flat Earth movement was funneled in to his show to come up with them damn questions.
Okay, so it's
just Nathan. This is all the flat Earth information.
So Doxy got one more chance to answer with a legitimate, non-complaining, non-bitching answer, or you will.
Guys.
Brandon.
Hey,
Yeah, let's
how about this?
move
You want
on.
to ask me?
Let's just move on because I don't understand why you won't just answer the question, Mark, and tell us why it's a fallacy to ask that specific question and keep bringing it back to
I'm talking about Nathan's show.
I know. I don't want to talk about. I don't want to talk about the show.
Okay.
I want to talk about the questions. That's what the question was. Why
Brandon,
is it a question to
I
ask?
can answer.
Is there
Do I
any
hear my
sign
yes
of
answer?
curvature?
No, correct. No, correct.
Okay.
Hold on. Why is it a fallacy to ask? Is there any sign of curvature?
There's no fallacy in that question, but when it comes to Nathan's show, it's all part
Damn it,
of the nature
All
of the
right.
show.
All right, we're moving on. Fuck it. Anyway, guys, it's been about an hour and a half. So we said we'd do about the first hour, unless anybody has anything they're dying to bring up that they can't when I let the ballers loose, which I think is just going to be Kosho at this point. Bring it up now.
I got something to show, but
okay. Yeah, let's do that. What's up, Pebbles?
yeah.
You got some new observations?
Yep.
Sweet. All right. You got a new setup.
Is it up already?
I'm just dragging it over for the audience. Now, let me make the screen bigger. I'll be ready in just 1 second. Okay. There you go.
All right. So now, this time I covered the floor with the, I don't know what they're called, but they're like these mats that you put on like roofs, sandpaper type. I don't know what they're called.
Oh, tar paper.
Did you get rid of the mirroring? Did you get rid of the mirroring?
Well, yeah,
excited
most
now.
of it, I guess.
Hold on, he's showing the video.
I can't watch.
Tar paper, like it's like felt paper. Soft?
I don't know what that is.
Is it-
Sandpaper, kind of.
Okay, all right.
That's how I'd call it. Yeah, so I rolled it across the floor, all the way from the camera up to the targets where that blue plastic boat is. And that's 28 meters from the camera to the targets. And then these blocks on the side, left and the right, the space between them, 40 centimeters. And the gap to the next two is approximately 8 meters. And the next two, 8 meters. And the last two at the really end there, that's also about 8 meters. And I just open up the door and let the air come in and do its thing.
Give me a play-by-play, guys.
The door is open.
That's a hell of a display of perspective. What was the distance to the one in the middle, the blocks in the middle? You went 40 centimeters to 8 meters in the end.
Like the distance, like towards the target, like well, how do I explain it? like moving towards the targets, it's approximately 8-meter gaps. But then the left and the right direction is 40-centimeter gaps.
Let me just
Does that make sense?
Oh, sorry.
Got it.
Let me just kind of, for the audience's sake, the reason he put this tar paper, I'll just call it tar paper, on the floor was to limit the amount of reflection. So there was some thought that possibly the visual effects that we were seeing due to the cold air coming in were light bouncing off a reflective surface beneath, or something like that. So this was kind of to try to falsify that as the cause of the refraction.
Yeah, that's all Rumpus and Rumpus and fans. That's all they would, and Jim. That's all they'd attribute to is reflection.
Can you zoom in any on your side? I can't zoom in because of the way Discord's set up, but it'd be cool if you could zoom into that area and play it one more time because it's real small for the audience.
Yeah. All right, starting from the beginning now. The height of those blocks is 48 millimeters. Well, about 5 centimeters tall.
Yeah, me more of that did something.
Looks like that blue one in the back is looming up a little bit.
Maybe. I'm watching the bottom of it. It definitely is mirrored and doubled over. Just like the other ones
When
we've
you
seen.
open the door, Brandon, when you open the door, how do you move the heights of the objects, and why does the floor move? How when you've set this up, do you move all those objects? Why just opening the door?
Well, the cold air rushes in, and I don't know, like all the details
thing I
about what the
noticed-
air is doing, but it just causes a mirroring effect.
Do you have
close
this
to
on
the level of
YouTube
the
or
floor.
something? This is a slam
thing I
dunk.
noticed-
How do they change their physical location as I see them do so? And the floor change its physical location when you just open the door.
That's a good point.
The
and
magical
because
earth
from
curve.
what I've heard recently, things are just where they are. When you see something somewhere, that's where it is. That's why you see it at that spot, right?
But if I wanted to know where those blocks were when the door was shut and I took the image, and then I opened the door and used the same image to define where the blocks were and the floor were, I wouldn't get the same results, would I?
No.
No, they moved. They must have physically moved. Yeah, you're right.
No, they don't. No. Are you guys?
Yes,
They don't
Jeremy,
physically move.
yes. I'm fucking being. We're being.
Those optics relate to those optics relate to a physical location, don't they? Those optics.
That's what I. Yeah.
No.
Yes. When you see something somewhere, that's because that's where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you see some mountains that are look like they're shrunk down behind a building. That they are. That's why you see them like
So
that, right?
I'm asking Pebble again. Then, when he opens the door, how does he make the floor move and all the things move dodgily? How do you do that magic trick? How do you move all their
I don't
geographic
know what's
positions?
going on. I'm just letting the air do its thing.
Maybe maybe he's got somebody with
I
one of
just
those
press
suits
record
on.
and let the air flow in.
Oh, it's probably wires like NASA uses on the ISS and the moon and shit.
Invisibility suits like the ones you showed us, Jeremy.
Wire colored
Shouts
wires.
Mark Doxy.
So when
Wired
there's
colored
snow
wire.
on mountains, would that mean that's a colder band up there?
Yes.
So would we get this effect, do you think?
What?
That's why you
Would
need
someone
to
move
take
the
into
snow
account
around?
everything.
Someone would go and move the snow around physically when there's.
Yeah, but in other words,
No,
the
just
further we
cold-
look, the higher up we're looking. Horizontal becomes higher, and the
Just
distance,
colder air,
That
would it
in turn
do the
is
same
colder
effect?
air. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
We know that for sure that when we're looking at objects in the distance, they're not where they appear to be. We can be pretty certain on that.
Yeah, if you're going to attribute perspective, the further out you're looking, the colder the air is. That would make light refract toward the colder, denser air, and that would make things appear lower. I mean, the further you get, things are going to appear lower because light's curving up. I think they've demonstrated that perfectly. I think he's demonstrating it right now. And in his last video, I think the lasers, I think FE Core, I think Taboo Conspiracy, and what's our PhD for optics?
Dr. John D.
John D.
John, yeah.
Sorry, I forgot his name. He's my favorite. Shout out to Dr.
I mean,
John D. Showed upward
you might-
refraction.
You might be good with a scope at 1,000 yards, but if you go with a scope at 1,000 yards, even then you're shooting higher to the side or something. So even then, this shit's not where it appears, where it looks like it is.
Brian, are you?
Possibly.
I don't know if you've heard this before, but refraction. I mean, we've had one of the world's foremost leading experts on here, and what he told us is refraction can make a curved surface look flat, but it is impossible for it to make a flat surface look curved.
Who the fuck said that?
The world's foremost expert in
I'd
refraction.
like to say this. We don't ever see curvature. We can see obstruction sometimes off in the distance, but they make the point that if light is refracting downwards, okay, then things are going to appear higher. When it's been demonstrated over and over that, and this is using atmosphere, and that light is refracting upwards towards the colder, denser air, and they say temperature ain't got much to do with it, a little bit, but not much. So who cares? It's getting colder. I mean, the colder air is physically denser. So within reason, the air doesn't start thinning out until you get up into more extreme heights. But the first couple hundred feet, pressure is pretty much the same. But the density of the air is denser. In my opinion, it'd have to be that for the flat Earth model to. But that'd be a slam dunk if we could prove that.
How can they possibly obtain measurements from this?
They can't. There's no fucking way. Yeah, I don't know.
Impossible.
No way.
Absolutely impossible.
Yeah. Optics. Like we've been saying for a long time, you are going to have a very difficult time trying to prove the shape of the Earth with optics alone, especially at long distances. Trying to make an argument like that is just not going to work. It was falsified, as far as I'm concerned, a long time ago, but certainly they pounded it home with the Black Swan, Huey and
absolutely. The Black Swan absolutely destroyed the notion that we're living on a globe. They can claim refraction all they want. It doesn't. They don't even understand how refraction works. They can't prove that it works the way they're saying. So, I mean, we're killing them.
And furthermore, if you're going to say that your model allows you to see further and for the Earth to look flat in any visual observation that we see, no matter what shape it looks like, no matter how far it looks, can be explained by your model, you can't also claim an optical observation can prove your model. If your model is unfalsifiable, you can't use it to prove the shape of the Earth. I'm sorry. That's just ridiculous.
Well, it's based off of geometrics and saying that, if there's no obstruction, we should see it. But we don't see in geometric orthographic vision. We just don't. Too many different things are happening with the air layers, with perspective, making stuff shrink, converge, merge, and disappear. We really need to revolutionize the way that we look at optics, possibly over a flat plane.
When it comes to optics, like the reason why I put these blocks here, I just wanted to see like what effect it has, because these blocks, like left to right, they're 40 centimeters from each other, and as it goes out into the distance, it appears to get closer to each other. And then also, the further away it goes, the lower it is, the top part of the blocks, but then down below, it appears to rise up.
You know what would be awesome, Pebbles? If you could set up another camera at the same height on the other side of the room, right next to on the side of the objects, and then set some objects up where the camera is now, and like do it in kind of reverse. You know what I'm saying?
Can you?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Do you have two cameras? Or?
I don't have a second camera. I'd have to get one.
let me say something to Brian's logic. Go to Pebbles in the Pond's channel and go through his videos because he's got legitimate demonstrations for your debate tomorrow. These are key points that show us what we're seeing in reality, easily demonstratable, and then ask him for demonstrations of his bullshit, because that was his best argument all these years is no demonstration. So put his own argument against it, and
well, I was hearing
no demonstration.
Brian's not here.
I was hearing we had two guys. One of them was north and one of them was south, and the other one could see one guy and the other guy couldn't see the other guy. So, I mean, I don't think light's bending or whatever they say is happening in the atmosphere. It's not happening the way they say it is, because if that was the case, both of the guys would have been able to see each other. So, I mean,
Yeah,
I think it
agree.
doesn't.
When I go out there and take photos, when I go look long distance, I see different shit all the time. And,
Like we almost
I think
never.
Skunk Bay pretty much sums it up.
We almost never have a guy on the opposite end of the observation trying to look at the other guy. You know what I mean? And I think, like, if we had some shit like that where it's like, look, it's not working the way you guys say it is because we're not seeing. Somebody's got some background. You know, if we could say, look, it's not working the way you guys say it is because we're not seeing the other we should see the other person if it's working the way you guys say it is. You know what I'm saying? And if we're not, then that would kind of fuck them. Hello?
Hello?
I agree, man.
I forgot where I heard that. I heard that on I think it was Oakley's or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I think Nathan was on one side, or not Nathan, but Sleeping Warrior.
Yeah.
Anthony was on one side and Ranty was on the other. So I don't.
That's what I mean. If they're not seeing each other, it's clearly not working the way they say it is, because how the fuck could you have that happen? So that might be a good little observation to do. No, north south. I think they said it was north south, something to do with I don't know, north south.
If the light refracts up a lot of days, okay, especially real hot days, like at the beach where I get some photograph. When I get the best sinking, it's on hotter days, with in my opinion. But that would perfectly explain sinking. The point is that's still not curvature. Just when we see obstruction in the distance on some days, at some times of the day, that doesn't mean curvature. It just means obstruction. And they've proven over and over that it's optical. We see different shit, you know. Their claims having to jump through more hoops than ours. Ours is keeping it real simple, man. What you see is what you get for whatever day.
That's what I keep arguing. I'm like, yo, there's some optical phenomena happening that's cutting things off in the horizon sometimes. Like,
but then they use mathematical formulas to a geographical location or geometric location, which you can't do. Sorry.
You can't. One more thing. You can't see things. 99 out of 100 of them. You can't even see this shit with the naked eye. And my question is if light is past the Rayleigh criterion, like as far as ground level, and hit less than 0.02 degrees, if the eye can't pick it up, would any lens be able to bring it back? Because you can stretch shit left to right, but you can't reach out and stretch the ground down. The ground is a permanent fixture. If the light can't make it, the zoom lens is not actually reaching out in the distance. It's magnifying the light that is already there. So
the light that's still available and not compressed, according to Life is Short, he says that once it's compressed beyond the angular resolution limit, it's effectively lost. You might get some of it back, but it's still going to be cut off. So the Globers have a problem because they're saying, why does it look like it's cut off suddenly? They want perspective to make it vanish down to a point as opposed to cutting it off. But we might need to look into, something optical, cutting it off early and making the image maintain size when it's cut off, at the horizon.
You didn't tell them about the merging, smushing, smashing, and compressing, though.
Well, I tried my equation and it appeared to be off from prediction, so I'm going to have to look for some other way to math this. But the thing about math is it needs unchanging units that are geometric, and vision doesn't quite appear to be that.
The thing is, their boy Soundly. Hold on, Brian. Their boy Soundly showed us this merging that you're always talking about, Lemon, with the hotel rooms.
I think you got cut off, Jeremy, but I did open the panel back up to ballers, so you guys can come in and tell us all about your religion.
I have a pretty picture. Do you want to see?
You have a funny picture? Yeah, I like funny pictures.
I posted it for you.
I think Ranty could have put us in one move from checkmate with them. Because if they adopt...
Can you hear me now?
If
Coming through?
if they adopt his...
Yes.
If they adopt Ranty's locally flat water, there must be a ridge where the two flat bit meet, and it will be easily debunkable.
I was going to say, there's a baller in here now. The baller that's going to possibly convert me back to the globe is here. His name is Biodual. He's conducting the Cavendish experiment, which has never been seen before by human eyes. He says it has been seen. He says there are papers, but there are no observations. So hopefully, if his mic is working and he's willing, he'll be able to discuss his experiment, and you can obviously ask him questions and things like that.
It's months.
Can I interject as Lemon there? Are you still there, Lemon?
I'm here.
So Lemon, you know how the diameter of the apparent diameter of the Earth is 7,918, right?
Yeah.
What? Turn it into 7,918 feet, and not miles. And take one foot divided by 7,000.
No, I don't think we did. No, he bought this thing with the stereo in it.
Rob, Mike.
Sorry, guys.
If you take 1 foot and divide it by 7,000, if you take 1 foot and divide it by 7,918 feet, what do you get? You get 0.000126.
3 zeros in front of 1 after the decimal point, 0001, and some numbers.
You consider those to be radian values. Times it by 57.3, and you get 0.007 degrees. The Rayleigh criterion formula of 1.22 times the wavelength of light divided by the diameter of the eye ends up with a maximum angular resolution of 0.007 degrees. If you take in any calculation formula and you put in 7,918 feet, for instance, if we use this calculation, r minus square root r squared minus whatever the distance squared, you'll get a hidden value according to the geometrical calculation of the ball. But that's if I turn it into feet. I get the hidden. So I can go.
Have you tried this with longer distances, like Bob put limit?
So here's another problem.
About 150 miles. Does it work?
Here's another problem. Every camera that you're using is analyzing these observations. Because the human eye, you're not going to sit there and calculate these hidden values with the human eye. You're going to be calculating these hidden values with camera optics, right? And a lot of these cameras zoom in, and you have what's called a foreshortening effect, which is not calculated for. And then, how do you calculate for an optical illusion called forcing perspective? What calculation is there available for that? There's none.
I'm sure
you
if
have
there was, you would
foreshortening.
have it though.
Well, I can't find any. All I know it's an optical illusion, right? So you have two optical illusions: foreshortening effect and forcing perspective. There's no calculations for these at all that I've come across that you can calculate for. All you can do is observe them and conflate what the cause is by ignoring foreshortening and forcing perspective. Those two values you can ignore, and you can conflate using the angular resolution and the base value of 7,918 feet, not miles. So all they're doing is taking your vision and turn it into a ball. And that's one example. Use the 7,918 not as miles, but use it as feet.
You take my vision and turn it into a ball?
Oh, God.
What?
You can also mix those two optical illusions up with a little bit of refraction, and from what we've seen from pebbles and other observations, you can mix that in too to the mix, and now you got an even more chaotic scene you're looking at.
No, man.
That you can't.
Again, they're all done with cameras. You're analyzing camera footage, which basically, because you're using lenses that actually will bend light and use refraction as an effect when you zoom in. You're going to actually make straight things appear more curved. Let me finish. You're going to make straight things appear more curved and compressed due to a foreshortening effect. And then you can force perspective based on the angle or the height of the camera. So you can do all kinds of things optically with the camera that you can't calculate for mathematically. What you can do is hijack your initial angular limit, which is all based on a ground observer. Why it fails is when...
Let me back that up in real life real quick,
Yeah,
man.
go ahead.
Okay, like what we were saying earlier about once the light hits a certain criteria, then it's there's no bringing it back. Okay, example. Okay, when Ranty did the Stenoline boat, the one with any other picture, they would have claimed it was Earth curve. Like, where's the boat go? Where's the bottom of the boat? But it happened to have writing on the bottom of the boat, and it said Stenoline. And the Stenoline was squished into a small little line. And if the further you zoom in, you're just still going to see a squished Stenoline because he was already zoomed in.
That's the shit Soundly showed us with his hotel room floors. Remember that? The Soundly Hotel? With his floors, where the bottom floors that were getting closer to the horizon were getting smushed and compressed. Their own boy showed us that this shit happens.
Okay, I'm going to give you another thing. Sorry to cut you off, Jeremy. So Lemon, try this. You know the natural log function? If you take 7,918 and you turn it into miles, you end up with 1.5 miles. Take the natural logarithm of 1.5 miles, you'll get, I think, a factor of 40, 0.40. Take the Rayleigh criterion of 1.22, subtract the 0.40. Now you have two sets of numbers. Take the 0.40 and I think the point, whatever the, what's 1.22 minus 40?
Like
0.82 or something like that? 0.82?
Yeah, so take the 0.40, times it by, and put it in parentheses, whatever height you're at. So in this case, a 6-foot observer. And then add, so you're using a slope, what is it? M equals
X plus B.
y times X plus B.
No, it's X plus B.
Yeah, anyway, take that simple slope calculation, put the 4.0 in, times it by the height of the observer, and then add the 0.82. You'll get a rough approximate calculation to the horizon. And that's all taking the 7,918 feet, turning it to miles, finding the natural logarithm for the 1.5. And then this is a quick calculation from optics and using the 1.22 as the limit. So
I got to put a little emphasis.
How did you justify turning it from feet from miles to feet?
Because I've taken the 7,918 and turned it into feet instead of miles. And I end up with 1.5 miles. Because there's a correlation between the angular limit of the eye and the distance to that angle. And that unfortunately is measured in feet. So our limit to our eye has a limit in feet because it's a measurement, which is also a limit in kilometers, which is a limit in meters, which is a limit in inches, which is a limit in centimeters. It's just a quantification. It's a quantification to that distance based on the angle to our eye. So you can use these calculations to show you that they've taken. Look, we're a tiny, tiny little fuck on the massive extended Earth.
That's my question, though. You're not answering my question.
I'm not even listening to your question.
How does it relate to the relationship between miles and feet, which is 5,280? There's a ratio.
Okay, so you still have an angle based on your height. That angle and the height, that angle you get from the height you are is going to be based on the size of the aperture of the eye. In this case, we have limited angles to the height we are as a 6-foot observer. The only thing I'm trying to show you guys, I don't give a fuck about anything else other than the hijacking of our eyesight turned into a ball and how they can conflate the inches and feet values based on those angles. You can do that. Absolutely, you can do that. So it's not surprising that you can find limits and values based on our vision that can be easily broken down and then conflated into some sort of optics where you ignore foreshortening and you ignore forcing perspective because there's no calculations for it.
Yeah, there is. I've made a calculator for the exact thing.
You've made a calculation for forcing perspective.
I made a calculator using the calculations for forced perspective. Yeah, it's not difficult. But the But there's
So
no
forcing perspective. I've never seen a calculation based on, like, for instance, using a P900 with 87 times zoom. If you went out and did long distance imaging with this camera, I've never seen a calculation that would calculate for foreshortening effects or forcing perspective effects.
Well,
so
what's the, what's the
center has
formula,
squished.
Kosho?
Why is it squished? And the whole rest of the boat is perfect.
What's the formula, Kosho, that you used on your calculator for this
I'll pull up my
foreshortening or
calculator,
force
hold on.
perspective?
It's all arbitrary numbers, man. He's making a bad point. But I wanted to ask him about the boat. The whole rest of the boat looks perfect, but the letters at the bottom are.
I'll post my
together.
calculator in the
Why is
chat
that?
too. Hold on.
Well, hold on.
How do you map
is there
that?
a formula or a?
Yeah, I gotta pull up my calculator. Hold on. The spreadsheet.
Kosho's got
I
a
want to
formula.
see the math for why them letters are crunched together and the rest of the boat is perfect. Ratio wise.
Same thing.
So if you know then, Kosho, then if you've done research in it, then you know that foreshortening will cause a looming effect, right? In cameras, it will cause things to appear to rise up. That's what foreshortening does, right? Do you understand that? And you guys are analyzing these foreshortening effects as looming, as if the ground is actually rising. You're not considering the camera long lens is doing it. And this is why this wheelhouse will never go anywhere. Is because that is really the argument. You're analyzing camera optics and not the human eye.
Actually, in the calculator I made, I have the human eye as an example, but you can change the aperture and wavelength of light to anything that you need to.
Yeah, keep telling me more, bud. Come on.
That's it. And then once you put in those specific, the aperture of the that you're using, the diameter, and the wavelength of light, all you got to do is put in the distance between you, and this calculator will give you the angular size of that object.
Yeah, I'm not talking about angular size, Kosho. I'm talking about foreshortening effects, which will cause things to loom up, okay? Because you're bending light due to the lens. The lenses in the zoom, they use refraction to zoom in, right? That's what you're using in a camera for zoom. So if you guys want to keep analyzing these bullshit things, go ahead. Keep in the same wheelhouse, but at the end of the day, that's all you're analyzing is camera optical illusions. That's it.
Where did you get that had anything to do with refraction, force perspective?
Just looking at your guys' arguments and what you guys are not calculating in your calculations. I look at what you guys are doing. You guys are being disingenuous, keeping everybody in the wheelhouse.
Okay, well, I'm just letting you know that force perspective and refraction are not related.
I didn't say they were related, buddy.
Well, you did say it was actually looming, and it has to cause looming. You have to have looming to have force perspective, and you have to have
foreshortening effects will cause things to loom up. You got it, absolutely, for sure. Yep.
Just
like Blackpool Tower.
I'm trying to call you out, but I'm just saying you just said two different things that were completely opposite of one another. But whatever.
Like
again, refraction in the light is based on the angle to the observer as well. If your buddy there who's going to do the demonstrations with the door, move the camera up and down, the refraction will change. The refraction is an angle of incident that it meets the eye. It's not actually happening anywhere except for in the eyeball.
Are you saying this effect would cause things to loom up like Blackpool Tower in the foreground?
You can have force perspective effects with long zoomed lens, depending on where you are. So for sure, you can make that tower seem taller or shorter than the mountain, based on the observer position. That's all it is. You guys are analyzing camera optics. It's like it's 1800s or 1900s all over again, and nobody is actually talking about what's going on.
When you just said that, and then I just asked you about what you just said, and then you just said the opposite. And then Jeremy just asked you said the opposite again. So it's like
I never said anything opposite, dude. Not one thing I said opposite. I'm consistent with what I said.
Force perspective does it have anything to do with refraction? Does it include refraction? Is refraction causing
forcing perspective is independent of refraction. They are all part of the optics. They're not independent that way. But when you're looking at forcing perspective, that has nothing to do with refraction. You're looking at forcing perspective. Refraction has to do as well with forcing perspective is the angle to the eye from the object, where the distance, wherever it is. So there are correlations because they have to do with the observer's position, what the observer's seeing. So of course, it's always going to be related to that fundamental fact. Yeah, change the height of the observer, you're going to have less refraction. Go down to the surface more, you'll have more refraction.
Effect, but I feel like Jeremy just asked about if you could use this looming to do something like the Blackpool Tower and all that kind of stuff.
No, I'm
But
just saying,
When you're
does that
saying
make the
looming,
foreground-
when you're saying looming, what are you analyzing? Are you analyzing a photograph? Or are you analyzing
would
the
that
human
make the
eye?
foreground-
Are you
would that make
analyzing
the-
a 50 mil or a 20 mil shot? Or are you analyzing a 300 mil zoom?
would
What are
this
you
effect
analyzing?
would this effect make the foreground appear higher in the image that you're looking at?
That's what
what I meant to ask.
foreshortening will do in a long lens camera. Yep, and a long zoom.
Okay. All right, just making sure. All right.
But it's not discussed. You don't discuss it. You don't analyze it. Nobody does any observations with that in mind. I did a quick example of forcing perspective to the ranty thing. I'm just waiting to see, who's going to do what next. It's the wheelhouse, man. If you don't want to be honest about what you guys are discussing, you'll never exit this wheelhouse.
Who do you
have
direct
a
that comment to?
rebuttal
Who you direct that comment
for
to? Who are you saying that to?
Post.
I would say it to anybody who doesn't want to talk about foreshortening effects. I will say it to anybody who doesn't want to look at forcing perspective. And if anybody here can show me calculations for either one of them in their formulas, then we can move forward. But until then, nobody's going to do it because there's none for them. I've never seen forcing perspective calculations in any of the observations Ranty's done. I've never seen any calculations in plain truth's videos when it comes to refraction. I've never seen any of them. Let alone foreshortening effects, let alone the fact what zoom level you're at. You will always maintain this wheelhouse unless we take those apart and address those first.
Fair enough. Indeed.
I'm
Coach,
sure
you
this
got any
was
calculations like that?
to my Google Drive.
The only thing I can do is use a form of calculus or a slope formula to devise a limit calculation based on a 1 foot observer height and the 1.22 miles away, which you can observe yourself over a prairie land with your human eye. Based on those, if I'm analyzing the human eye, I can set markers out at different height elevations to devise, let's say, calculating the squares, if you will. I can't remember the phraseology for it, but I can devise a slope calculation based on those observations between several points to have a predictive formula based on optics that are kind of close to the curve calculator. How about that?
Like the squares on the chessboard disappearing when you put your eye down?
No, it's just a way to I can't remember the name of it. It's just a way to process data to get a slope calculation, like using calculus.
I've said from the beginning, this optic. I've said from the beginning,
Sorry,
this
Jeremy.
optic. No, go ahead. Go ahead. It's fine. What's sloping?
No, what is sloping you talking about? What is that?
This whole optics thing is a fucking mess. All right, I've said this from day one.
It's
and
not
I'm
a
still
mess.
saying it. It's a mess.
Yeah,
Hot
but
mess.
to get advancement, to get change, to get advancing in the science of optics, it's going to take discussing it first, and then getting out there
Well,
and
that's
doing
where
it
you
like
guys-
the Plain Truth wants
yeah.
to do. So anybody who can, go to the Plain Truth and give a couple bucks to his GoFundMe, man. He's put in a lot of work, man. A lot of work.
I love that video he did with Darren.
I'll do
back in
that.
the day
Give me a
on,
link. Give me a
refraction,
link for him.
perspective, and angular something with the hallway. Remember, they analyzed the hallway for like a fucking 2 hours at a video or something. It was great.
I can give you pictures on that in my son's school.
Brandon, can you pull up Travis's GoFundMe?
I don't know. I don't have a link to it. Do you got a link?
No, that's what I was trying to see. That's what I meant. Can you get a link? I'm on a phone right now.
Yeah,
It's gonna be
I'll
difficult.
support that.
Well, just put it in chat if you find it. That's fine.
So, Dada, what is sloping? What are you talking about sloping?
It's just it's simply put, it's a rise over run. That's just a simple way of putting it.
Is it going up or down?
So the apparent rising of the ground, you mean? What do you mean?
You said sloping. What is sloping?
It's a rise over run. So the higher you go, the farther distance you can see. So it's just a rise over run. Simple rise over run understanding of it, but you can get into more complex equations based on let's say a limit or an average. Okay, so you have a whole bunch of points of intervals in between your height. You add up those intervals. I have to look at my paperwork again to explain it better. So it's just a slope. It's just a slope. Rise over run. So it's a slope factor. The ground appears to rise up. The higher you go, the ground still appears to rise up. The higher you go, the ground still appears to rise up. It doesn't matter how high you go, the ground still appears to rise up.
Okay,
Sorry, let me rephrase that. It appears to rise up and
I just said
extend.
this right here.
It appears to rise up and extend outward every time you go higher and higher. That's what we observe.
When I think of the word slope, slope is going one direction, down. I mean, maybe that's
There's
the
a
wrong
there's
word.
a there's a slope upward. There's a slope downward. It's just a simple explanation for rise over run. They call it a slope.
By the way, data, I posted my data, but it's, there's 3 calculators in one here, and you guys are free to use it if you'd like to, but it's just for angle of incidence, which is actually something I was working on with Lemon, so don't worry about that one. But it's angular resolution for any optical instrument, including your eye, which is already in there. And then the other page is for angular size, and this one will tell you the angular size of any object given the distance and the height.
Yeah, I know all those formulas. All those formulas are the same, but I ask you a question, Kosho. When you're looking at distance of the star and you have 2 values, you have the degree and you have the arc minutes, right? Yeah, I've got 2 of those apparent measurements, the degree and arc minutes, right? So when you add in your star information, what do you do for distance and size when you're trying to use the formula?
That's not how you find distance of stars. You don't
you don't use your
things like
apparent angular size calculation?
Oh, stars are like point sources. I use the angular size to find out what the distance to a star is.
Did he give you the formula though? You couldn't find data, or
No, there's nothing new that he's not showing me anything new. No.
The formulas are in here, man. So what you could do is you use this page that says angular size, and you would determine the angular size of an object.
There's no formula you're showing me that's new there, Coach. Sorry, bud.
You want to force perspective and have like somebody look like they're standing on a golf ball and they're standing way behind it. You put in the size of the golf ball, and
you can tell and how far away they have to be. I get it, but that's not the calculation in the Ranty demonstration, because he's using a 70-300 mil lens, so he's probably focused in around 300 mil, maybe 200 mil, right?
All you would need for this, it doesn't matter what kind of optical device is using. This will tell you the angular size from that position, and then on the other page, you can put in the instrument that you have and the aperture and stuff, and it will tell you what's the smallest angular size object you can see from there, or the smallest.
Yeah, it's a simple calculation is take the size of the object, times it by 57.3, and then you divide it by the distance, right? And then you get the apparent size to it. It's a simple calculation for that. It's not going to help you analyzing a photograph. It's not going to help you analyzing a photograph that's shot long
What
lens.
you just said is not going to give you anything.
Take the size of an object, times it by 57.3, divide it by the degree, whatever the degree of it is, or the distance of it, and it will give you the answer, the result, the alternative.
Yeah, that's a good way to turn a radian into an angle. But if you don't have a radian, you just have the size of an object, and you multiply by 57.3, it's not going to do anything for you.
If I take the size of an object, times it by 57.3, I either divide it by the distance or the degree, I'll get the alternative answer I need. That's just a simple way of doing it.
Yo, the next person that says a number, I'm going to steal your girl.
You're gonna lose that girl. You know that Beatles song? John Lennon sings it. You're gonna lose that girl.
Yeah, I don't know if y'all heard me, but I posted Travis's GoFundMe, man. It's getting up there, man, and you know, he's probably going to do the work regardless, man. But it's just going to take forever. The quicker we pitch in just a couple bucks, let's collectively, or just put in a couple damn dollars. You ain't got to go crazy. Everybody put in a couple bucks, and let's speed this up, man.
Once I'm done, I'll do that. Help them. Yeah, flat earthers, we need to put our money where our mouth is sometimes. A little more to help each other.
Send him $4 worth
Yeah,
of
he's
safe
already
moon.
done all the observations. Now what he's
Give
going to
me
do
a
is
safe
put people
moon
out there
address.
on the horizon and get the actual measurements, right, and document them and write a paper.
Yo, give me a safe moon address. I'll send him $4 worth of safe
Everybody
moon right
send
now.
Travis some shit coins. Everyone loves a good shit coin.
Oh yeah.
So what did we come to a conclusion there?
I mean, yeah, he's using strange equations. Although when you added that other part at the end, you said maybe do this, maybe do that. Yeah, I think what you're changing a radian to an angle before you even have a radian. So yeah, I just don't know because you don't start off with an angle. You start out with the height.
Hey, Data. Professor Phil would like to have a one-on-one with you. Are you interested?
Sure.
Okay. Yep, Phil, you're out there. You asked in chat. Looks like Data is down to do it.
Right now, or?
No, not right now. I mean, we got a whole bunch of people in here. We'll never be able to get a one-on-one, but we'll figure out a time whenever you guys are both
I got
available.
excited.
I'll message you guys.
Oh, that would have been like the showstopper right there.
Well, we can do it right now, but you could. I mean, you guys won't be able to shut the fuck up. I know that.
Do it now. Do it now. Do it now.
Fight. Phil, if you're available now, Data, you're available. Obviously, you're here.
Come on, Phil. Represent.
Come on in, Phil. Challenge accepted.
I hope you guys
calling out their bullshit.
Just so you know, I do only have 12% on my phone, so I'd have to probably, as I'm out and about, so I'd have to see if this is going
You'll
down.
only need
charging my phone.
3%, man. 3% will do it.
You gotta get that book
Sounds
out there
good.
so you can afford a power charging cord.
If you multiply 12% by 1.22 radians and then divide that by the diameter of your eye, you're going to be fine.
Yeah, defeating
the equation's
bullshit.
actually written in there. It's
That
right
was
there.
actually pretty funny.
Defeating bullshit in real time like this, that is how it's going to make ground. Because today you can mark down the day Professor Phil challenged a 1v1 and then never showed.
No, this ain't gonna make no ground, bro. The way you make ground is by doing shit in reality. Just talking with these goofballs, we're never gonna get anywhere.
But that's all they do is talk.
No,
They've got nothing.
you look. I don't know how you guys started out, but I started out with some ground activism. I started going from place to place to get the debate going, and then COVID happened, right? So now it's the most bizarrest thing ever because when you do try to do any active, people are afraid to talk to you. They literally they step back from you. So it's gotten even worse.
Oh, come on, man. Don't act like that was a new occurrence.
This would be a slaughter. I mean, I've talked to Professor Phil.
That is a new occurrence. That is a new occurrence for this fact that the contagion, the idea of getting sick, and then, for an example, because I'm not wearing a mask, I'm already labeled an anti-vaxxer. Because I'm not wearing a mask, I'm already labeled as a flat earther. So anybody with that preconceived notion will take 10 steps back. They are literally programmed. It is the most comical thing I've ever. They do the COVID 2-step.
Yeah, but if you want to be an
That'll
effective,
save you the time. That'll save you the time on who and who not to talk to. The people that are scared and step back, then that's the people you're never going to reach anyway.
no, but he wants to do
You've
active.
also
true.
noticed too a rise in
Reach as many people as possible.
Hey, you guys, this is real important. Like there's been a rise of like this anti-Asian. They're actually doing hearings on it on Capitol Hill right now, because so many of these people are afraid of a virus that originated from Asia, that now they think Asian people are carriers. Almost like what happened when in the 90s with gay people and AIDS. You've got all these anti-science people who've been told to be afraid. Wear your mask, socially distance, get a vaccine. It's a Chinese flu. That now it's spawned off into almost this like version of Asian bashing.
Right. We all know science is real, Craig, right? But that doesn't mean it can't be abused.
And the government
What if flat Earth was the litmus test for the COVID abuse?
Yeah, you're seeing it right now. There's
That's
you
interesting.
can turn on you can turn on C-SPAN right now and watch people testifying about getting attacked because they thought they were carrying the Chinese flu. And those are people like Kosho. There's people like Kosho, Professor Phil. Those are the people doing it.
About, dude.
That's tough.
That was pretty
great.
to say, man.
Yeah, you see it. You just go to the server.
No, you sit here and you sit here and you make up lies about people. Like
no, you do that.
Glory.
That's what you do.
He's taking a training or something like that. He's never said that to you. You told
Said
him
it to your face.
Hey, you're sitting here telling people that I would beat people up because they have the flu. What are you talking about, dude?
No, Asians, because you think they have the flu. That's what he said.
They told you a flu came from Asia, and you see an Asian person. You're the type of people that are being testified about on Capitol Hill right now.
Crit, I think,
because you are told what to be afraid of.
You need help, bro.
The same thing when Aaron came and said I was recording people and spreading fake news around the internet. I go bullshit, and you muted me and said Aaron's a good guy. Still to this day, has he produced any evidence?
Right now.
You said Aaron was a
This is
good
your
guy?
problem, dude. You need control. And now you're going to act like a weasel when your feet are being held to the fire. This is what happens when you leave your echo chamber.
Look, I think it's going to be a bio warfare. That's my take on it. Iron mixed with clay. This is prophecy at its finest.
Huh? Plastic in the air.
Prophecy doesn't a prophecy have to be made for prophecy to occur?
Iron mixed with clay.
What do you mean? Doesn't prophecy have to be made for?
If you're going to claim a prophecy, don't you have to actually prophesy something and then come true?
You guys
Right
predict
there.
shit all the time. You tell us.
Here, Coach.
You guys are the ones who are the psychics.
I'll find the Bible verse for you. I'll find it for you. Hang on.
You meant somebody's making a prophecy right now. I was like, wait, no.
Well,
that's another problem they have. They can't listen.
Yeah.
Did you guys know that you guys should, Brandon, you should bring up Newton's Principia. It's pretty interesting kind of stuff that he talks about God there being the cause of gravity and all this interesting stuff. And he was a real heavy Christian, believed in God quite a bit, and
that's putting it lightly.
He did the books on Revelations, right? End times prophecy.
End times prophecy.
He studied the Bible more than anything else.
You don't have the Bible chat bot, do you, Brandon?
I do not. I'm not a big religious.
A lot of globe believers would be really pissed off if you brought up the Principia and started reading his claims about God in there, being the response. Now he didn't even talk about gravity being the mysterious force.
Well, let's read just a little bit. I'll just in case the audience wasn't aware, although I try to make people aware of this on a regular basis. Isaac Newton was considered an insightful and erudite theologian by his contemporaries. He wrote many works that would now be classified as occult studies and religious tracts dealing with the literal interpretation of the Bible. Isn't there another Bible literist we know currently? Oh, that's interesting. I don't know.
There's a lot of people back then were. Plenty of people were even priests. But he studied the Bible more than he studied anything else in his life.
Yep. Newton's conception of the physical world provided a stable model of the natural world, blah, blah, blah. Newton saw a monotheistic God as the masterful creator whose existence could not be denied in the face of the grandeur of all creation. Although born into an Anglican family, by his 30s, Newton held a Christian faith that, had it been made public, would not have been considered orthodox by mainstream Christians. Scholars consider him a non-Trinitarian Arian.
There you go, man.
Yeah, apparently he hated the Trinity too, right?
Well, that's because it's a contradiction from the Ten Commandments, even.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway, he was into that shit pretty deep, that's for sure. Most of his writings were of occult nature. The physics stuff was kind of the stuff that could be made public, so That's what
Brandon,
well known.
He made that stuff, the Christian stuff public too.
Can I say something to Kosho? Okay,
Yeah,
right.
but it wasn't published
By the way.
until many years later. Some of it got out. It was passed around. I've read the
No,
whole history of it.
he published books and stuff because he even wrote a history. He wrote a history based off of
not his occult writings, not his turning metal into
history is based after the Bible.
Dude,
In his diaries, and I don't know if I told you this guy before, but in his diaries, he wrote about how much he had mixed feelings about God because of how God made him feel, and then he actually wrote in his diary about killing his own parents. So the guy was pretty tormented.
Wow.
Well, mercury poisoning. That's why this guy drank mercury because he thought someday he was going to shit gold. Of course, his mind was completely. He got hit on the head by an apple and saw stars.
Did he ever shit gold?
No.
Oh,
Yeah, that's the bad part too.
I
right?
think they have turned mercury into gold though, using it in a ridiculous amount of power. But
Nuclear fission. It's one of the byproducts of nuclear fission. It's a very small byproduct though. Not gonna get any usable amount, but
Read that, Kosho. I tagged you in it.
The Secret Writings of Isaac Newton.
The reason why I bring it up is because there's that sort of blind indifference towards the Creator and this holier than thou science. I guess you call it the badge of science they have when they wear the heliocentric hat, but yet their own gravity is founded by a super religious guy who believed in God. So it's this awesome, I guess, I don't know if you want to call it cognitive dissonance because they're not really holding, I don't know, but it's just awesome to see how that's the reality of the founding fathers of all this, but yet then they cold-heartedly deny it all.
It's atheism, is what
well, the guy.
most religious people believe in the globe, man. It's not like believing in the globe means you're not religious.
No, it's
So,
anti-flat earthers, not about globe people.
I can speak for Canada. There's about 64% of the population that is secular. Right?
There's a lot of secular people in the world, yeah. There's a lot of Muslims.
Yeah, so it's more so than ever, though, right, Kosho? That's the whole reason why they can get away with shit, is because
What do they do with the globe?
they have now allowed man to convince, or man has been convinced to trust man rather than God. That's why you have a more secular society.
None of that has anything to do with the globe whatsoever.
If you have an atheistic evolution base and the Big Bang Foundation founded in that, and that's what everybody was raised up in, you better believe they're going to trust that. They're going to trust that rather than their own Bible, which
Wasn't
is
the Big
exactly what they
Bang
wanted to begin with.
Wasn't the Big Bang founded by a Jesuit priest called Lemaitre or something?
I think Friedman, A.A.A. Friedman, whatever his first name is, had a lot to do with the inception of the Big Bang. And I think then George Lemaitre and Einstein worked together with Friedman to come up with the concept.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying, that these things are not in any way, like, you don't have to be, they're not mutually exclusive. Like, you can be religious.
Just know that, too, that Professor Phil is still a no-show. So write that down, Debates anybody, but doesn't show up.
Kosho, do you believe in the Big Bang?
Currently, sure. It's the best story for what happened. Yeah, I believe.
Okay, hang on, though. I thought you believed in God, don't you, Kosho?
Sure, I believe in God, yeah.
So where was the sun for 3 days?
So say what again?
Where was the sun for 3 days when the earth was created?
Did you ask me if I believe in God, or do I believe that the things that are written in the Bible are what happened? Those are two different questions.
What God do you believe in then?
There's only one God, man. I believe God, everybody else believes.
Yeah.
Which one is yours?
I feel like you should
Where do you get yours
rewind
from?
and listen to what I just said to you.
Right, there is one creator, correct.
Right.
Where do you get yours from? Who is your God?
And then you heard that, and then you asked me which one is mine. Right.
Yeah.
So the Bible was a spoken tradition for a while. The old Torah was hundreds of years before it was written down. The stories were told, and parts of them are probably true, but a lot of those things you have to know are not true. They're not. Nobody was there to view something, see it happen, jot it down, perfect.
So do you see the same fault you just had?
Sounds like Eratosthenes to me.
You just accepted the best story explanation is the Big Bang, but you just the same breath said nobody was there to write it down, nobody saw it happen.
We have evidence for those things.
You've accepted the Big Bang under the same principles.
Did you?
Has he though?
Two totally different principles. One is strictly faith on something someone said. The other is based on evidence, and reason, and
you have to
practice.
You have to have faith in it, Kosho.
Those are two totally different things, man.
No, they're not.
Yes, one is faith and nothing else, and one is evidence.
What evidence do you have?
There's no scientific evidence of the Big Bang.
There absolutely is.
4 billion years ago?
Really not, though. Man. The two biggest pieces of evidence for the Big Bang Theory. One is the what do you call it? The Hubble constant, which is the rate at which things are moving away from each other. So you can see the further you look away,
wait a second.
the further you look away, the further away things are moving from each other. And if you scale that backwards, that gives you a time when those things had to have been close together.
Yeah, so you're watching light move away, and that's scientific. An observation is scientific then?
Hundreds of years of observations, yeah, absolutely.
So 100 years of observations of light moving away is proof of the Big Bang.
No, as extreme evidence of the Big Bang. As extreme evidence of the Big Bang.
We all know the standing model has problems. Why argue over the standing model when we know
Can I ask Kosho one question? That's it.
Model.
Coach, can you have two great lights next to each other?
Peyton Show brought up the second one that I was saying. The other one is the microwave background radiation. But yeah, go ahead though.
Okay, cool. Okay, so can you have two great lights side by side from each other, self-illuminated, and if they dim, right, they both get dim at the same time, will they appear to be moving away from each other?
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
He's referring to how the rays of a sun seem to diminish when you put like a filter over it, so it appears to move away from something.
Stars.
So if there's two that are next to each other and they dim, the rays of it minimize, making it look like they move away. That's essentially what he's asking.
Yeah, I don't know what you're asking, man. If you're asking if there's effects you can do it with filters, sure. That's a weird question, though.
I'm not talking about filters. I'm talking about. What do you mean? It's a weird question. It's begging the question. You're talking about the stars.
Question, but
that's how you measure the Big Bang is with the stars, correct?
Yeah, but you don't measure it the way you just said at all.
Yeah, the 2-degree cosmic background noise.
That's cool. That's cool. Okay, so it begs the question: how do you not know?
The way you measure.
How do you not know if the stars are?
Go ahead, sir.
How do you not know if the stars are self-illuminated?
Okay,
and they're just dying out.
Right. So there's an easy way. The way that they measure what the star is and what the speed that they're moving away is every material has a signature in the spectral emission lines. And so you can see what the emission lines are supposed to be for any given object. And if those lines are perfectly spaced together but shifted slightly, you can tell that it's red shifted or blue shifted. In which case you can tell that it's moving at a speed away from you. So you can use that effect to tell what that material is and how fast.
Comment on that.
So dimming can do the
The only
same.
thing that can affect that is if something comes between your observation and that star, and it happens to be what makes the star up is the only two elements that are light enough to be way the hell up there to get in the way. I mean, don't
any element.
That's kind of convenient.
You can do this any element at all.
That one will do that. Sorry, not.
You're not getting it, Coach. You're not getting my question, Coach. You're really not.
Well, that's not how they determine this evidence. The evidence they present and the methodology doesn't include the rays of light. It's very specific to how light interacts within motion, whether it's coming at you, going away, and other ways. But this one specifically is dealing with moving away, moving towards.
Wait a minute. You're telling me an object that you can't get to, you can determine if it's self-illuminating, getting dimming, or moving.
Yeah, those are emission lines.
You can tell the difference.
Yeah.
You can't get to it though.
Emission lines mean that it's emitting light. So if you're seeing emission lines, you're seeing something emitting light. And those signatures are like fingerprints. They're like barcodes, basically. If you have a barcode, you know exactly what it is. And if it's not in the right place, but it's the same barcode, you can tell it's been shifted. These things are an exact science. these emission lines and spectral lines.
It's an exact science on Earth, man, because they can consolidate shit and nothing be in the way.
No.
Anything gets in the way of your exact science will
You get
affect
absorption lines.
So you're making a claim that nothing's in between your observation and that star.
It's not going to affect the emission lines redshifting what's between. They might absorb some, but it will not. I say again, will not affect the redshift.
Absorption lines.
It will affect the freaking makeup of it. It will affect the composition.
Why are you guys arguing
No, it
fantasy
won't.
land?
Because you don't understand spectroscopy. That's why.
I looked into it enough and listened to John D to get some.
No, you haven't. If you're saying stupid shit like
prove.
absorption lines, you haven't looked into it.
Bullshit, dude. Bullshit. I didn't say nothing about absorption lines. I'm talking about
Yes,
the
you did.
composition itself. So you say all the stars are made up of the same shit everywhere.
Similar.
No, that's the thing.
You don't think that's kind of coincidental?
No, hold on.
No, it's not coincidental because they're stars.
Gets in the way?
Hold on. And that's not true. No one said that they're made up of the same thing. We're saying that the same thing that's here and the same thing that's there, if it is the same thing, if it's carbon, for instance, you're going to see the same spectral lines. So they're not made up of the same thing. They can be made up of whatever they're made up of. But what you're going to see is the
It's
different
all
spectral lines.
piles of gas forming, bundling up in a vacuum. That's fucking absurd, dude.
Why?
And it has nothing. And it has nothing to do with the shape of the Earth. This conversation is off the rails.
Actually, it does. Actually,
No, it has to do with the Big
What?
Bang.
The Big Bang. Get out of here with that Big Bang stuff.
You got serious problems with redshift and blue shift, and with what about the axis of evil kind of fucks you guys?
What's the problem, Jeremy? What's the problem with red and blue shift?
You've got stars that are supposed to be in the same cluster, and they're coincidentally moving away from us and towards us.
That's not addressing redshift, blue shift. That's not addressing it at all. What's the problem with redshift and blue shift?
The fact that the claim is that some stars are in the same cluster or area or whatever, and one of them's moving towards us at a tremendous speed, and the other one's moving away from us. I'd have to get the name of the exact stars, but.
So that's addressing something else entirely. What specifically with red and blue shift is the problem? Or are you saying you're fine with red and blue shift, but it contradicts something else? Is that what you're saying?
The glaring problem is that the outside of these galaxies you so-called observing, okay, the stars in the outside are moving at the same damn speed as the stars on the inside, meaning they're gajillions of miles an hour faster. So your model collapses right there unless you come up with some crazy ass bullshit.
No, it shows once again you don't understand spectroscopy.
Hey, welcome to Flat Earth.
That's about dark matter and that kind of
This
shit.
has nothing to do with flat Earth. This has to do with the fact you guys don't understand cosmology. Add that to the list.
You can obfuscate my points if you want. bro, but
Cosmology is la la
Bible's
land,
dead
buddy.
on its face, bro.
Oh yeah,
Unless you make something up.
as opposed to say your Bible that does in 7 days, right?
Yeah, who's talking about the Bible?
Do you have a valid scientific hypothesis from cosmology?
Oh yeah, lots of them.
Let's hear it.
Hold on, Jeremy. Are you going to go into the QE scientific method?
He's going into QE bullshit again, so I'm just going to ignore him.
Let's hear it.
Oh, by the way,
So you
QE got owned by Dr. Bob today. You should go see him get him humiliated.
Oh, I'm sure he did. Yeah, I bet he did.
You're overpowering your mic a little bit, Mr. Payne. That's it.
They had
Can you post a link of that debate so that I can
They had a
watch it?
debate, or did Dr. Bob just make some retarded video and claim that he wrecked him?
Oh, he made a video and he did wreck him.
Yeah, all right. Well, why don't you know?
Well, QE won't debate him because
why don't
QE
Dr.
won't,
Bob?
You're
QE won't
stupid,
debate him
QE
because QE
debates
won't
all the
step out of
time.
his.
QE just debated you. He just debated Kosho. You're talking out of your ass, bitch boy.
He won't step out of his echo chamber though and debate Dr. Bob.
I haven't debated QE in like half a year.
You just debated him on evolution a few months ago. Might have been a half
About,
year.
6 months ago.
Well, whatever.
December.
All right, and Payne
Oh,
Shill
6
just
months
debated
ago?
him a
Holy
few months
shit.
ago,
It was a few months ago. Yeah,
and he fucked both you guys up.
No, because he basically lied
You
his ass
got
off the
fucking
entire time.
owned.
Jeremy,
He made it.
name one point that.
He lied his ass off the entire time.
Okay.
Said nothing true the entire debate.
Possible. Jeremy, name one thing that.
He wanted the way the pigeon wins chess.
Jeremy, name one thing that QE had said in that argument I had with him. That was valid.
That was a long time ago. I know that you couldn't even make
Jeremy,
it. You couldn't even make it.
All he did was point out something I said.
Well, he was asking for a mechanism, and you said natural. Listen, let's not. I don't want to delve back into it, but he pretty much wrecked you.
You're the one who brought it up, man.
I know he wrecked you.
He didn't make any claims whatsoever, dude.
Is that all you could say? Is that he wrecked him, but you can't bring up anything that he had said?
Well, he
that
asked.
was,
For,
true?
he was asking. I didn't want to get back into it, but he was asking Kosho for a mechanism of evolution. Kosho said natural selection. QE had a bunch of citations that
QE citation,
absolutely,
cherry pick citation.
Hold on,
right?
Joe. Hold
that
on.
absolutely
It's going, hold
wrecked Kosho's idea on natural selection being the mechanism.
Jeremy, the problem is I never got to explain myself. I never got to get any words out. Right, so he didn't explain anything at all. He just explained what I was saying.
You destroyed your points.
Hold on, Jeremy. Were you looking in the chat?
Point, man. I answered one of his questions, and he went on forever about it.
Jeremy, were you in the chat while I was at that moment taking his source and showing the next couple sentences contradicting what he was claiming? And then 2, did he make any valid points, or was he just contradicting what Kosho was saying?
He was destroying Kosho's points.
But did he bring up any valid
question, dude? I didn't make
hostile witnesses, which are the best kind.
When 2 sentences after
his point, he asked me one question and then berated that question for the rest of the fucking supposed debate.
Just look at the numpty clips.
When his own,
I told him this last time I saw him, and he just muted me. But his numpty clips don't embarrass anybody but himself. All he does is
they actually do.
He showcases a bunch of people explaining things correctly, and then acts like that's like an insult.
Double speaking.
Come on, bro.
Yeah. No, hold on, guys.
Dude?
He's right. He show a lot of people explaining things correctly as they've been teach in the schools. Yeah, that's what you guys do all day, every day.
Correctly.
Yeah.
I mean, the word.
No critical thinking at all.
Double speak.
He shows people He shows people explaining how it is scientifically, and then he sits
No
there and says,
critical
"Oh
thinking,
no, that's
buddy.
wrong."
No critical
That's
thinking,
wrong.
buddy.
I advise everyone to go watch those numpty clips. They're
Yeah, go watch the last one.
What Quantum Eraser does is he exposes them for not being able to demonstrate not any of their claims, not even a fucking
QE
one
has
of them.
no. If QE knew anything, he'd be dangerous. Unfortunately, he knows nothing and is a champion cherry picker.
Okay, but that's not saying anything. But
well, it says a lot about him.
Anyhow, in his numpty clips, like the last one with me, for example, he says something about the horizon. It's like the horizon for about 10 minutes, and for some reason, he thinks that's embarrassing when I'm explaining the difference between the horizon and the geometric horizon. And he claims that he knows the definition for these things when he doesn't know the definitions for these things. He gets them wrong. He says them incorrectly. And then because of that, you guys end up saying them incorrectly. But then
QE always comes with citations. He always comes with credible. QE always comes with credible citations.
Cherry pick citations that generally don't mean what he says because he doesn't fucking understand them. And then
what's cherry picking mean?
Cherry picking means picking quotes out of context.
Can you give us an example?
Yeah, I'll actually search
QE has done that.
Yeah, I'll actually
Give us
search
an example.
Between a hostile witness.
No, I'm addressing it. Yeah, yes, James. I actually live during the debate with QE versus Kosho. I was in the chat live posting his own source 2 sentences later contradicting what QE was trying to present.
No shit, we know NASA believes in a globe, but when they make claims, we call that a hostile witness. So we take some of their facts. You can keep reading and get a contradiction, dude. We know that. But a hostile witness is the best witness there is, buddy.
Okay, that's awesome. But James was specifically asking for something in which he was cherry picking from a source, and I'm going to look right now and show you.
Okay, that would help.
I took 2 screenshots during, but I will find it. Give me 1 sec. It was a long time ago, so I'm gonna have to scroll a bunch. But yeah, I'll give it to you.
Dr. Bob did like an hour video on him cherry picking. It's really hilarious.
Yeah, look at how they do it. That's your science. Your science is all about TMZ, BuzzFeed style, us versus them. What's QE up to today? You can't address the issues. You can only attack the person.
They love QE.
Because you're a bunch of numpty clowns.
You guys
can't stop
He
talking about
what a
QE.
big idiot you guys are.
They can't.
It shows what a fucktard you guys all are. That you compare it when
You guys got to hop off his nuts, man.
Hayden Nessa's show mentions QE every conversation.
Yeah,
You're the one who brought him up again, Jeremy.
If Peyton Nessa's show could have a baby, he'd be trying to get pregnant by QE right now.
No, I wouldn't be actually.
I've actually
I don't think he can get it up. I think he does know how to. He would need a citation that's probably cherry picked out of something wrong.
Yo, QE, me and him had a falling out. I took him to task for how he treated people, and I was so wrong because I had no idea the full story. How much of a numpty pretender clowns these globalists are.
I'm surprised that you could talk that dick so far down your throat.
Yeah, I went to him. I said, you know what? I was wrong. I thought that
You
your
are wrong. That's
tactics
true.
were
Ranty shows you you're
abrasive.
wrong. Maybe you'll
I thought
figure
I
it
was
out
wrong.
someday too. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's giving
You're wrong.
you
The Earth's not
guys
flat. Very good.
he's giving you guys your own medicine,
Hang
and you
on,
don't like it.
Kosho. So you
Spend
said
a lot of time.
You put out in the world, and you don't like it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, it's that time of night. That went pretty quick. Final thoughts. We'll go and we'll start in reverse order tonight with Voight. Tom Wahlberg.
He's a ball gag, dude. He never talks.
Bob Dole.
Voice. Sorry.
Don. Press Don.
Yo.
Final thoughts.
I wanna point out one of the strongest moves when Jeremy said "fuck the talk" and we need to do some work about it. Represent Jeremy. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, the debate. All right, my bad. It's final thoughts.
Silent Zero.
Not much to say. These people are a little bit cuckoo. So, yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Sirop. Rob. We'll come right back. Rob Redmond. Pebble.
Yeah, I'll see if I can get a second camera from somewhere and take some more observations. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I'll do my final thoughts. Thanks for bringing that in, Pebbles. And if you do that same setup again, maybe include a light in there with that setup.
Yeah,
that'd be cool. All right. Yeah, thanks again.
And a gyroscope.
Kosho.
Yo. I mean, it's just not just for this chat. By the way, thanks for having me on and stuff. But yeah, not just for this chat, but I think in all chat rooms and all conversations, I think that a lot of us spent a lot less time not saying anything, like, using the time we have to talk to say almost nothing, and instead try to talk about the substance of our arguments on either side. I think we get a lot further, a lot quicker. That goes for, like I said, people on both sides, but my side, the globe side. If we got the right answers, at both sides think they have the right answers. If you think you have the right answers, the most effective way to express those is to just share the information, not share the bullshit. But other than that, there's some other shit, but I guess we'll talk about it after the show.
Cool. Peace of mind.
Yeah, get it flat and get it right.
Oh yeah, thanks. George.
Hello there. Yeah, I'm still waiting for Flat Earth Data to do his pendulum tests live so we can all see where he's going wrong. So, and I'd like to see Bob Knoll have a little discussion about his inverse square law mistakes. I can't believe he made a video claiming the same thing over and over again. This guy just has no clue as to how to use the inverse square law properly. I just don't get it. He even has the use of a inverse square law calculator, and he can't even use that properly. Just like when he was doing space communication, RF propagation, he can't even use the Pasternak calculators correctly. So it's really a puzzle how this guy, even when you have calculator aids for him, he can't even get it right. So interesting. But I'll catch you later.
Thanks, George. Jimbo.
Pendulum torque. Seems to me Hansel and Gretel are busy when it's humid out, and seems to me it changes. All that string is with the bar on the bottom is your torsion. All you get from it is deviation, a deviation from the steam. moving right along. Square, well, many things about squarity. Sound decays, square. You know, light decays from your eye. You know, inverse square and proportionally. It's not going to change. But again, your string, your pendulum, with weight on the end, your torsion on it, humidity. Makes Hansel and Gretel come out, makes the witch come out. For people who have the old barometers, have fun. They haven't changed. And don't forget to buy your through night TN42, $159. All sales final.
Thanks.
Good to 2 meters.
Thank you, Jimbo. Mine's in my cart already. Jace. James. Richard.
Seems after 5, 6, maybe 7 years, globe versus flat, nothing's changed. You got more flat earthers, but the arguments are the same. Nothing's been resolved. I just find it crazy.
Thanks, James.
Brandon, can I give a final thought?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just hoping that as a final send off, we could play a song maybe from Buster.
Final send off for who?
I don't think he cares if you play it on the show, but it would be cool if you played a song. I posted it in general at the beginning of the show.
Oh, I missed it. Okay.
It's called "I Know What I Know." If you could play it, that'd be really cool.
Okay. All right. I'll look for it. Maybe you can post it again. Thank you. Gio.
Yeah, I enjoyed the show. Thanks, everyone. And Brandon, thanks for hosting the show. And yeah, I guess I don't have any thoughts at the moment in particular, but just want to say thanks. And I enjoyed being here with everyone.
Thanks, Gio. Rockwell. Gently. Aaron.
Let's quit beating around the bush. Ranty versus Peach.
General Brandon.
Great show, Brandon.
Thank you. Thanks, Aaron. Effie on data.
Yeah, in relation to the Big Bang, I'm just going to read you an excerpt here. Using the pulsation rate, scientists have calculated the universal expansion rate, but the number doesn't match with the values derived from the cosmic phenomenon, such as the echo of the Big Bang, known as the cosmic microwave background radiation. There's a puzzling mystery going on in the universe. Measurements of the rate of the cosmic expansion using different methods keeps turning up disagreeing results. The situation has been called a crisis. And then as far as George, you already confirmed what I had stated, which is using the pendulum and different masses, calculating the cycle rate, you'll get different gravitational acceleration factors, which you agreed that they don't match when you change the different weights. So that's all I did the observation for, was to have you confirm that.
George, final thoughts. Final thoughts, George.
George, everybody heard it. Everybody heard it. You proved my point. The point is that you change the weight, you'll change the gravitation. You'll change the gravitational acceleration. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. George, I'll meet you. You can respond after we get through this. C. Stell. Crit.
Yeah, I'll just say that Pebbles was a great video. I mean, if you can post that somewhere to share, that'd be really powerful. QE's right. To explain things to globalists, like how to peel a banana, 15 steps, and they still wouldn't get it. I had to eat a lot of crow when I told him. I first thought he was abrasive and rude, but he's just giving the globalists what they put out in the world, and they don't like it. Shout out to the Bev cult in the text chat, post on the crit memes. I love my fans. The Ed Freeze bot in both Space and Gossip Channel. And Professor Phil was a no-show, as predicted.
Thank you, Crit. Jeremy.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have boots on the ground to get something done here to end this someday. It's not the debate. I don't think is really gonna end it. The debate might swing more people over to our side if we're lucky. But I mean, it's a slow, tedious process, and I don't know. I just feel like something needs to be done. But good night.
Thanks, Jeremy. Cheeky.
It's shy.
Oh, sorry.
All these years and flat earthers can't understand perspective. I challenge data to provide any observations with any zoom he wants, providing he give me the size of the object and the distances. I'll find the relative size in the image without knowing how much zoom, what was the aperture size, or anything else. Thank you for the show.
Thank you. Car in Kentucky.
Hello. As always, enjoyed listening to the discussion. Thanks, Brandon, for the show.
Thank you, sir. Brian. Leaky.
Yeah, man. I want to say thanks for a good show, and big shout out to Doubles on the Pond. Keep them observations coming. They're the more variations you give, the better, man. It's showing what happens in actual reality. They don't like that. Yeah, nobody's denying that we can give distances and angles and get angular measurements, but all that shit starts breaking down on the horizon. Okay, and past the horizon, all them observations you can't calculate. Stenoline scrunched up at the bottom of a ship. You zoom in, the whole ship looks fine. Yeah, you could give me a number for the angular size for the size of the ship. You ain't gonna give me a number for that stenoline crunched up at the bottom. You're gonna say, where'd the bottom of the boat go when there's no letters there? You're gonna tell me the boat's disappeared. But then we catch a boat with letters on them and see they're scrunched up at the bottom. It's a phenomenon. It happens. There are all kinds of shit that happens. But so you're the one who doesn't understand perspective. You're not putting math to that, Jake. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brian. I'll do.
Yeah, James. I posted the 2 pictures of QE cherry picking, and it's only 2 examples amongst many. Interested in what your thoughts are after final thoughts.
Cool. Thanks, Mado. Mansaw.
Yeah, another good show, Brandon. I want to second the idea of Ranty versus Pete Shea. Let's get it going. Another good show, mate. Catch you next time.
Thank you. Autodidactic. Angel of Attack.
I've got a bold prediction that if Jeremy gets around to his subsolar test, which I think he will, I've got faith in you, Jeremy. I think that once you get those measurements for yourself and you see them for yourself, you're going to follow Ranty back to the globe side. Thanks, Brandon.
Thank you. Allie B. Percentage. All right. Thanks to the panel. I'll be back. I will record the after show. I am going to unmute George. George, you're free to go after data. There you go. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. Okay. Final 2 super chats. Oh, shit. I got to read that one. Oh, shit. Sorry. I got a super chat I got to read. Kosho. Cleary, $2. Can Kosho say Bueller? Can you do that for us, Kosho?
No, I do that.
Dance monkey.
He's making funny.
George, you made his claim for him. We all heard you say it.
And then the second one is Cleary, $2. Brandon's, can you play I Know What I Know? So I'm going to play a song. I'll be back, guys. Thanks. Oh, boy. All right. $2. Should I play it? Oh, I'll play it. This is sponsored content. Enjoy. Oh, the desktop's not picking it up. Yeah, I don't know why it does that, guys. I'm moving over here. No. Yeah, for some reason the desktop's not picking it up. Might just be a driver issue. Tell you what, I will put the link. You guys can watch it. Sorry about that. Tried to play it, but it's not coming through. At least I don't see any sound on my side. There you go. Sorry about that, Claire. Okay. Talk to you guys later. Have a good night. Really appreciate it. Thanks to all the people who super chatted. Appreciate that too. And we'll see what happens tomorrow. Now, don't go watching that debate over there on Conspiracy Cats channel. Come here. We got Friday night fights. And we're going to tear shit up as always. So we'll see you tomorrow night. Bye.